Let's see what that connection's looking like. I really just don't. I want to literally do anything except for have to restart my computer.
Troubleshooting.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, I know. I love that. It's my favorite thing to have to do,
Ah,
actually.
the classic. Have you tried turning it on and off again?
Right, basically.
Ah, the first rule of troubleshooting. I should know. I work in I work in the industry.
Really?
Yeah, I'm in IT. I'm in tech. You know, I've done all the service technician jobs and shit where it's just like, all right, step one, have you tried turning it off and on again? And the people always just like laugh and say, he's like, yeah, I knew you'd say that. It's like, I mean, gotta ask it.
And then come to find out they didn't. And that's actually what the issue is.
Oh well. Well, that just makes the troubleshooting easy. Those are my favorite. Love when that happens.
All right. So I think the issue is I have too much shit going on trying to keep track of stream, so I'm turning all of that shit off. We are double checking the stream and then not giving a fuck.
I'd be like that sometimes. Sometimes you just got too much shit. It'd be like that.
I mean, true.
And your stream just sits there. It's just like this, not very humble, not very demure, and then it just has a hard time. Maybe like that. I did try using Restream once on on like a YouTube stream, but I just like decided to stop it and not do it anymore because the bitrate was just too much of a problem. I was just like, I'm just not gonna deal with that then. Just upload VODs on YouTube. I think it's just easier that way. Sometimes YouTube just be doing a little bit of trolling.
All right. Huh. So I think apparently Kelly was watching the stream. Which also, Ted, if you're still in chat there, if you want to just jump onto the Discord here, feel free. We're in the screen time room. And Kelly, same thing. I could probably just add Kelly real quick. Now this I know I can do. I think.
Yeah, you just gotta believe.
True.
That's what Sora says in Kingdom Hearts.
Why not? What the hell? All right. So what is it you're playing anyway?
I'm playing TCG Card Shop Simulator, aka Safe Gamba. It's basically like there was they developed another like card like store simulator. I don't
Hmm.
remember which one it was before, but this is like their second foray into that. Ooh, $44. But basically, what you're just managing a card store. That's it. I find it very funny that constantly the store owner of the store is just fiending in the background, just constantly opening card packs. It's very entertaining. Just the idea of that. I've been to plenty of card stores, and it's like that's like it almost never happens unless it's like an event is going on. But a store owner constantly doing it, it's funny. I just find it funny. You open your card, you make die money, and you make your shop bigger. You make your shop great again, as God intended.
See, the worst thing about being on Facebook and communicating with people on Facebook is, first thing, Facebook will fuck with your audio so hard. Secondly, the notifications, the sound notifications are like, I don't know how to turn that shit off. Like, I don't even know if you can, really.
Zuck, come on, man. Get your shit together, man. Get your head out of the gutter.
Unironically, it's
come on, Zucker.
It's pretty horrible.
Zuck the cuck.
Oh shit. All right. So, that is Kelly. Kelly's in chat. Kelly, if you're you should see a link up for the Discord. I don't know if you're in my Discord or not. If you are, I'll keep an eye out on the welcome mat there, and I'll give you the screen time info here, and then we can pull you in.
Listen, all that matters is that this game's music, it's a bop. That's what matters. This is how you do safe gambling, kids.
You're not wrong. They should just pay me to be a mod for someone. I'm so good at the tech side of this shit. Some of it. Not all of it, obviously. I need a slightly better machine though, because this one does struggle. What is my channel name? So there's a link on the website just in the top right corner. It should just say Discord.
Listen, just be like an epic gamer and set up a command for your Discord. Think about it. I wonder if like I know that YouTube has like bot integrations with it, so you can like set up commands and shit. I know that. I'm not sure about like Facebook, like if you can like program the bot to do that shit.
So apparently you can set up a streamer bot to work even on my chat. I think. And there are options to like, I don't really know a lot about the ins and outs of how that shit works. enough to do that. But
It's typically just a website you go on, and then if you do it through like say OBS, right? It'll be what like either like Stream Elements bot or something. You just add the bot basically, and then you go to like the website that hosts the bot, and you can like go to typically a tab that says like commands, and you can just start setting stuff up. There's already like a bunch of baseline commands that already exist typically.
well, so we have certain commands for the website. I don't know if you I don't know. I guess you're probably not watching my stream, but so there are commands like you can what is it, exclamation point SO mini. It shouts out Boyd meets mini in the chat. So it basically just takes that command and it converts it to what the message is for that command. Like we have that,
yes.
and I have an FAQ set up for like how this shit works and whatever. But I do not have one for the Discord because there's a link right there in the top right corner that says Discord.
Okay. Yeah, with most of like the general sort of like stream bots, like Moobot or like whatever, basically same concept. You can like set up your own like commands and shit like that do different things. Same idea basically. It's like you can just make up a bunch of commands, boom, bada bing, bada boom, and just add them in, stuff like that.
Yeah, so Kelly and Ted, you both should have screen time permission. You just jump in the screen time chat here.
Oh snap! More people.
Yeah, we trying to.
Poggers. Can we get a poggers in the chat?
One of my favorite emotes in CCC chat is Coggers, actually.
Ah, you're a Coggers enthusiast.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. A little frog who became his cog, and he do be spinning though.
Do be spinning.
Or you have like the 3D spinning version of it as well. It's like a little ball instead, and it just the face is like spinning all around, all over the place. Like, oh shit, dude. What's up, gamer?
Kelly got no voice.
Oh no.
He's got
Silencing women. Shaking my head. Typical misogyny. Shaking my head. Chainsaw. We do a little bit of ironic misogyny. Just a little bit.
Actually, Kelly, a guy.
Oh.
It's just one of those. It's just one of those names.
Ironic misandry, okay? Well, this is what I get for assuming I made an ass out of myself.
Well, I kind of already figured that we would have like a whole group of people by this point, and then be able to do the normal thing of going around a room and being like, okay, what's your name? Who are you? What do you do? What are your pronouns? And everybody say, hey, I'm such and such, and I do such and such, and my pronouns is such and such. Now we're gonna have technical difficulties and have to load a second stream VOD, and
I love technical difficulties.
I'm gonna fuck around with some things. Yeah, it's a good time. I love that.
It'd be like that sometimes.
So I get for using my phone. I can't see what I'm typing. Ha, true. Okay, there's Kelly. What up, Kelly? We can see you, but you can't see us. You can't hear us. Oh, you can see us.
Oh shit.
There we go.
Hey, what up, buddy?
Oh, let there be sound.
There we go. Hey, what up, buddy? Sorry, fucking settings on Discord were default to my Razer black headset, so I had to switch it to my camera. Razer black.
It'd be like that sometimes.
True.
Discord do be a little silly with it.
So Kelly Daho, I don't know if you guys know each other. Daho Rumba, Twitch streamer. You know what?
What's going on?
We'll do it like
What's
that. Daho, who are you? What you do?
Why is my output not working?
I'm Daharumba. I stream on twitch.tv/Daharumba. I play video games and I yap about whatever. Typically it's politics, but sometimes it'll just be stream of consciousness where I'll just have like a thought and I'll just be like, guys, I had this thought, and then I just talk about
There we
it.
go.
And are you American or only American on the internet? Right.
I'm only American on the internet, just to make fun of all the people that I shit on.
Much like Super Dave. And so Kelly, who are you and what do you do?
Oh, me? Just your average disgruntled American citizen / gamer who I'm very jaded when it comes to politics. I understand it's important for the future, but my God, are we so broken as a nation right now? It's unfucking realistically just nuts.
With you there, buddy. You want to
The dystopian nightmare is somewhat real. So
I mean, you want to shout out the channel. If not, I understand. My understanding, not to give you too much shit, but my understanding was that that your significant other, not a big fan of you jumping on the politics side of things. I love that for both of you.
She doesn't mind. It's more that politics
She's not
right
doing
now is very inflammatory, and she doesn't prefer it in the gaming, like and when we're doing streams and stuff. She just wants people to be able to enjoy it, come there to de-stress, not focus on it. That's not to say politics isn't important, but she's correct in like there's a time and place for it, of course, especially with how volatile everyone is currently.
So that's actually something that I found, and Daho, you I don't know if you spend too much time in like other circles outside of like the Twitch sphere. I mean, I know you fuck with some YouTubers and likely some of the same ones that I do, but I don't know if you have so much community outside of just like this side of Twitch. But actually, that's something that I've noticed a lot about Facebook streamers, kind of as a whole, like as a culture, is that a lot of them don't really get political. And if they do, it's it's like they'll do it outside of platform. Like I don't think Kelly, you're not streaming right now, correct?
I mean, yes and no. I am. Sorry, a furry creature decides to be involved. Currently, I am on and off streaming. I've been working on getting my stuff ready to move to the UK.
Oh no, I mean like as we're having this discussion, you're not streaming now.
Oh no, I'm not streaming right now. No.
And then that's what I mean. I feel like that's something that that a lot of Facebook streamers that I've come across is if they do discuss politics, it's off stream or in a different space outside of the one that you guys are cultivating there. That's something I find just kind of unique to Facebook streaming so far. It seemed totally foreign to me, but I've noticed that a lot of you guys do that.
Well, Facebook also has pretty rigid shit when it comes to what they'll accept. And with political talk, you get a lot of people inflamed, angry. Suddenly it turns into a shouting match between column A, column B. And Facebook loves to crack down on that. At least their moderator bots do. So I think people, just for the sake of avoiding problems with their channels, try to keep it as neutral as possible when it comes to that. They don't really like that kind of stuff because it could impact their earnings from Facebook.
Would that be more than likely because what fucking genocide was being organized primarily on Facebook? Was the Rohingya genocide, if I recall correctly? That's what primarily was being organized via Facebook by like government officials and shit like that. This was like a thing like a while ago, where like Facebook was like the primary vector for the organizing of some genocide somewhere in like Asia, Southeast Asia specifically.
That's ringing a bell.
Vaguely remember something like that, but it was a while ago, and I only heard like by the time it came around to my neck of the woods, it was already like making its way pretty much past its expiration date in that regard. But yeah, Facebook, I mean, after I know Mark Zuckerberg went in front of Congress, what was it, 8, 9 years ago, give or take? Something like that.
Yeah, probably maybe. That was the whole Cambridge Analytica shit, right, or something?
Yeah, something like that. But
Okay.
essentially, it boils down to like Facebook is just oversaturated with these bots that flag anything and everything. Another good streamer friend, you guys may know him, Wolfman Gaming.
Right. I'm familiar with Wolfman.
He was getting dinged for having regular conversations in Facebook with nothing sexual, nothing against community guidelines, anything. He could say hi and the bots would just sick on him and just ban him from speaking in any chat field comment. It was ridiculous.
That's aggressive. Jesus.
Oh yeah, Facebook gets hyper aggressive with it.
Weird. Huh. Okay. Huh. Well, I'm definitely going to avoid Facebook with a 10-foot pole. I get extremely inflammatory on here.
I mean, we're on Facebook right now here, fellas. One thing. Okay, so here's the thing. One thing I have noticed though myself, just as being a Facebook streamer, I'm a YouTuber through and through. People are like, "Oh yeah, you know, stream on Twitch." Yeah, I do, but like, and yeah, I got the chat but like, I'm a YouTuber. I started on YouTube. I mean, I guess technically I started on Facebook, but that was way years before this channel. But like doing this kind of content specifically with this brand, specifically with this channel, you know, YouTube, doing the kind of content that I was doing at the time, it's slightly shifted, if you could say. But in the heart, even though that I am still, you know, now on Facebook and Twitch, like right now, one thing that I have noticed though, since streaming on Facebook, is that I got pinged once. It was like, I think my second stream ever on Facebook, actually. I got pinged for copyright infringement. It was alleged that I had been using, now, it had been alleged that I had been using some sort of ASMR therapy German something that was pulled from YouTube. I got DMCA'd for it. Now, the clips that are referenced, though, are my voice speaking.
Yep.
It's me talking, like right now.
Dude, I didn't know that it's your inherent, like, I don't know, Aryan a voice. There you go. That's what it's going on.
Had to be. You know, I guess I didn't
know goose stepping was going to be a topic tonight. Damn.
Yeah, I did. It's Facebook is the only social media I use that does not have the flag of Japan in my bio. I clearly need to correct this. You know, I don't know, like but and every time I've mentioned that to someone, they're like, "Oh yeah, you know, you get DMCA'd for everything." I'm like, "No, this was my voice though." They're like, or you know, they're like, "What kind of music did you use? You know, you gotta use your own music." I'm like, "Well, the only music I've ever played on stream has been music that I've written, but it wasn't that was the issue. It was all the parts when I was talking and playing fucking Factorio that like seemed to be the big problem here." You know, but I'd never heard of anyone else having this issue before. So when you say this, Kelly, I'm like, at this point, fuck, it could be anything. But then also, and this is actually the conversation that I wanted to have with Epic Prawn. Funnily enough, we had discussed previously, and I think Daho, you were invited on this one also. I think I'd invited Sean too before I met you, Kelly, about setting up like a round table to discuss preservation of old tech and da-da-da. And that's kind of in that light, like, you know, we're on Twitch, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook. You know, there are certain things that you can't say on Twitch that you can totally say on YouTube, obviously, that, and you know, I've heard, I don't know, but I've heard, there's a bit of a culture on Facebook where folks are concerned about saying the names of other platforms. I'm just going to say it. I think that shit's silly when I'm in a Facebook stream and motherfuckers be like the purple side, the red side, the blue side. I'm like, stop.
That's so goofy.
It is kind of
The only
wild.
thing it makes me think of when you say it like that is fucking red versus blue.
Yeah.
It's really,
Right. So I mean, so you've heard people say this though. Now I've never heard Sean say this, but I've literally heard everyone else that her and I, are aware of, that I'm aware of, that she's aware of, that we all know the same people. They have said this shit. Maybe not Wolfman, but other people. I've made fun of Dave because Dave's got a great sense of humor and he could take it. I have made fun of Dave for saying this, but like it. I'm the only thing that I can think is, okay, so like and I've said this before, I try to push people off of, like Daho, I've been trying to push you onto Facebook. We got Boy Meets Mini on Facebook now. Boy Meets Mini has critical faith theory on Facebook, but then Boy Meets Mini also has the profile just in case something happens. Kelly, you've seen me, even before pushing Sean to come over to Twitch. I've pushed Dave over to Twitch. I've pushed, Jason from Battery Required over to Twitch. Ton of people, over to the purple side and whatever. Just because I think it's a cool idea. Myself, I have the fun toy. And by the fun toy, I mean the CCC chat. So like if I ever get canceled off of Twitch, or if I ever get canceled off of YouTube, or if I ever get canceled off of Facebook, I wouldn't recommend anyone going to Kick, but if it's literally the only thing I have left, it's that or Odyssey. Yeah, I guess.
I've never even heard of Odyssey.
Odyssey's the one that Medicare is on. It's where you end up when you're at Medicare's level.
Oh boy.
Yeah. But
I'm Mr. Medicare.
So
I mean, Facebook at this rate's going to lose their streamers.
People
people are leaving because they're losing their stars. Like the donations just go out the window. I have put in probably myself like 20 or 30 reports to Facebook being like, hey, where the hell is the stars donation button? People who are watching can't donate.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, oh god, this was like back when Facebook gaming just started becoming like a thing, right? Wasn't like one of the biggest streamers that got was I think it was Disguised Toast, right? Hearthstone streamer. Eventually became like a variety game. Okay, it's okay if you guys don't know this. I'm like literal OG. I know like basically everything.
If it happened between 2010 and 2002, I'm probably out.
No, it was Facebook gaming. That was like 2016, 2017, I think.
Okay.
When it was just like emerging. Back when like all the big Twitch streamers were starting to like leave the platform because they started getting other contracts from different companies trying to do their own foray of into like streaming. You'd like had your fucking God, what was the one that Microsoft had where it just fucking crashed and burned, and they signed, I think, like Ninja and Shroud to like multi-million-dollar contracts for a couple years, and they, of course, eventually both ended up coming back to Twitch anyways, because the platform just the dead platform doesn't exist anymore, and that was a thing that happened. I guess it's like a similar thing happening because like. What something just like overcorrection over moderation or something, I assume. I'm not sure exactly how to classify it properly happening with like Facebook or some shit.
Yeah, it sounds familiar. I mean, Facebook is oversaturated with moderation at this point and it's not even people that are actually moderating it, it's just the damn bots. Like
yeah, exactly.
We're just going ham, and you can't get like a live response from a human being at Facebook anymore. Like Zuckerberg has cut that completely out. Mm-hmm. And I've had some friends who are like, this is kind of suspicious. Like now that Meta has been unveiled, and that's kind of like their AI pet project. So they're like, I wonder if they're scrapping the streaming portion of that for now while they work on Meta, because you can't get a straight answer out of them. I know people on Facebook who that was essentially their living. Like I don't remember his name, but was it Old Guy ADD or fuck? I can't remember. One of them relies on those donations to get him and his family their bills paid and shit. And Facebook just fucking completely wiped the stars out. He wasn't demonetized. There'd be no reason for it. You also, when you are demonetized, you get a notice from Facebook saying, hey, we've cut this from your channel because we can't have you doing this. So he didn't get that. He has reported it, I don't know how many times, but Facebook just will not do anything about it. So they suspect, like I've had friends who are capitulating, if you will, that, well, Facebook is essentially just going to get rid of streaming altogether at some point, or just leave it and let it turn into a hot mess and not fix anything with it, and then just claim ignorance.
I remember hearing ADD having a rough time with it. There for a little bit, but I don't know if that's specifically in the story that you're referencing, but I do seem to recall hearing him mentioning having a rough time with stars and with, just in general. I don't know, and that's part of that is why I'm like, man, really? I don't know. Daho, you're involved in this too, Mr. Tech Guru. I don't know why the fuck everybody doesn't have a streaming website. Honestly, I'm not special. I'm not.
I honestly, I should. Like, I think that's probably the best way of going forward. To be honest, I'm just kind of fucking lazy about it. To be honest. I mean.
So here's the thing. The biggest roadblock is figuring out how, but I'm not going to lie to you. It's taken me a while to piece everything together, but I mean, I've done it. I'm the only streamer in this space that's not in some way associated with the two camps that have these. And I did this on my own. I mean, outside of, I had some help with the frame sets from Mini. I give credit where credit's due here. Obviously, all of the inspiration comes from those who had come before me, but this is something that I had created myself based on those designs and the inside systems of how it functions. Still based on their designs, but this is something that only cost me as much as I was able to put out. There are significantly cheaper ways of doing this. And the best part is no one can take it away from me. So
sure.
all of the benefit with none of the headache.
Right.
But I mean, if it's me, who am I? I'm just some shilly hillbilly from Missouri. You know what I'm saying? I'm just down here in the basically the culturally Appalachian Ozarks. Down yonder here. There's no goddamn reason that I should.
I could almost smell the moonshine from that accent. Just
true,
saying.
True. But there's nothing special about what I did. I just pieced it together. So if I could do it, literally anyone else can do it. And honestly, a lot of the stuff that everyone else who has one of these that used completely different systems that are more automated than mine, that stuff's still out there. It's still on GitHub, just ready to be pulled by someone with a full working brain. I wasn't able to utilize that tech because I'm not a coder. I'm not that guy. So I just had to use what fits. But
that's fair. I'm mostly just like lazy about stuff like that. Like, should I do it? Yeah, probably. Yeah. Could I do it? Yeah, probably. I just get very lazy about it. That's my problem.
Well, I mean, or if it's like something that you need, like that's why I advocate for people being like everywhere. I'm just a whittle guy. I'm just a itty bitty whittle guy, but I have, obviously this hour I have no reach, and obviously most of the people who would be in chat are probably watching other streamers who are significantly larger than me, who have been streaming for several hours longer than me. But also, I was on the road, man. I had shit to do today. We live in normal lives out here. And that's cool. But like, because I'm everywhere, I have, I guess, more of a reach than someone who my size should deserve. A lot of people I know who are like, oh, I'm on Blue Sky, I'm on Twitter, I have, a couple of thousand, followers on Twitter, and I have a couple of thousand followers on Blue Sky. I'm on YouTube, and I have, I have 3,000 followers on Facebook and then 1,000 followers on Twitch who are the same people from Facebook. So it's like actually only a third of my Facebook audience who follow me on Twitch. None of my people are the same anywhere. My 1,000 followers on Facebook, they ain't on Twitter. The 1,000 followers, on Twitter, like 5 of them have Facebooks. The rest of them, they're like, that shit's for boomers. There is some crossover, some crossover between Twitter and Blue Sky, but for the most part, the very few people who follow me on Blue Sky are people who just interacted me from that platform. The same goes with Mastodon. I try to seek out different audiences on different platforms that I'm on. Obviously, still pushing the same, message and things, but just because I figure it being such a little guy, if I am going to be everywhere, I might as well be able to utilize that to focus on whatever it is that I'm doing. So if I'm pushing a message, yeah, they got a choice between people getting like the same message 5 or 6 times on 5 or 6 different platforms, or, possibly just being able to reach out to 5 or 6 different people. I mean, if you combine the bulk of my audience, I have significantly more followers or whatever than any one platform. I was on Brian Plays Games Badly this morning, and we were talking about streaming on Facebook versus streaming on Twitch, and somebody in the chat mentioned, he was like, "Oh, I'm just a smaller guy." I'm like, "And you got like, I don't even know how many he had. I think it was like 1.5 thousand or something on Facebook." I'm like, that's pretty significant for Facebook, and he's doing pretty good on Twitch too. And somebody in the chat was like, you've got like 174, I think, followers on Twitch. I'm like, yeah, well, one thing, I don't pay any attention to my Twitch chat. Second thing, I don't push my Twitch chat, which is kind of just there to let people know that I'm on, that I am streaming. Like right now, Facebook, who knows what the fuck is being said in Facebook chat, if anyone is actually watching or if they're, all shit talking me. I don't know what they're saying because I'm not looking at that shit. It could be Wolfman just spanning dicks. I have no idea. I only say that because one time it actually was just Wolfman spanning dicks. I think it was Wolfman and Smoking Caddis, chatting for a little while, and then Caddis came over here to CCC chat. But that's the thing though. Like I feel like the more places that people are, the more options you have, the more tools at your disposal. Now I got too much shit, obviously, because I had to restart this stream one time, but I feel like the more toys you have to play with and the more things that you have that solve these problems, I don't know. Maybe it's just me being picky, but like I look at shit like whenever I started, people were like, it's crazy because Twitch takes like 30% of your income from subs. And then it was like Twitch takes 50% of your income from subs. And they're like, holy shit. I'm like,
oh yeah, like 70-30. Oh boy,
right.
If only those days were back.
People were mad about that though, and then when they switched it, people lost their fucking marbles, and now everybody's like perfectly fine with this. I'm still mad about this. I wouldn't want people to sub, and most people don't. That's why they have things like Ko-Fi and Stream Elements and Bits and blah blah blah. But like,
the thing with the adjustment from 70-30 to 50-50, it's because the reason why Twitch did that, primarily speaking, is because of a shifting of their main way to make money. They shifted to try to push more advertisements over subscriptions. That's the main reasoning for as to why the subs money from subs went down significantly, was because of that primarily. There was also like I'm trying to remember if there's like anything else that like really spurred onto this. There's like there hasn't been like an adpocalypse or something, as much as like some people would like to claim. That's not really a thing. It's mostly because of like a changing of the sort of models that Twitch is trying to use in order to try to make more money, primarily speaking. because like, well, uh, Amazon isn't really willing to just let Twitch do its own thing. It now has to try to make a profit. Same thing also happened with like YouTube a little bit, where like the parent company is just not supporting them anymore, or not as much as they used to, because of various reasons. That's mostly the primary reason why Twitch has had these problems, these sort of things emerge. Because like just Amazon was just like, okay, well, I want you to actually start making money. It's just like, all right, well, okay, cool, I guess.
Well, that and most obviously streaming took a huge hike, spike-wise, popularity-wise, when COVID hit. So
Yeah, exactly.
all the platforms are like, oh, we got to capitalize on this shit. Little
Yeah,
did they
yeah, yeah.
realize that, oh, it's not forever, and viewership's going to drop off when people are like, oh, the outside world exists again. Who would have thought? So that was that I think that was part of kind of the whole jank thing that went on with that.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we are currently at Kamala with 153, Trump at 211. Looks like California is making some reports.
California is making, yep, the Pacific Northwest is starting to report in. Still no Nevada. Obviously, the more important things to look at are the swing states, because I mean, it's just what blue wall and then Pennsylvania and Kamala just wins. Like it's just over. But like those are the more important things to look at, and like all these other guys are just like kind of whatever. I mean, this is like, isn't this just kind of normal? Expected behavior for most like U.S. elections, federal elections, where it's just like, oh yeah, the Democrat always like trails behind, and then all of a sudden all these other states start their counting, and then boom, becomes like even.
I mean, at this hour, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, everything it just takes time. It's a process. They're not going to be able to call anything until probably for the next couple days.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. Wouldn't be surprised if like we didn't know like what exactly happened until like, I don't know, like 2-3 days from now or something. At least that's what I think.
Yeah.
Ultimately the question becomes is like, well, what are the Republicans going to do? What's Trump going to say? What's Trump going to do? Yada yada yada, stuff like that. And then like and then like the inevitable shift happens, and that's when like shit probably really hits the fan and all the conspiracism. Because I mean, if you've seen like most right wing Twitter and shit like that, they're already talking about this stuff. Where it's just like, oh, we got to be ready for the inevitable steal that the Democrats are going to try to do. So that's a thing. I don't know how I don't know if it's going to be like another January 6th per se. It's going to be kind of much harder to organize something like that, especially with Trump not being in the presidency. Who knows exactly how that'll form? Anything can happen at this point. Who knows? Just gotta wait and see at this point. To be honest,
I already know what's going to happen. The rhetoric will follow the same exact thing when Biden won the election. Is Trump will claim cheating. He'll incite people to create unrest and all the other bullshit. No matter what the numbers say, dude is the very, like, if sore loser in the dictionary had a picture, that his face would be right there. Like there's no question in my mind that he's going to go to like extreme lengths to like, oh, the Democrats are trying to steal the win again.
The damn demons, they're doing it again. Damn demon rats.
I have to give credit where credit is due as far as Trump's concerned in one regard. his PR team must be some of the best paid motherfuckers on this planet. Because my God, convicted, and nobody bats an eye. Nobody.
I don't know if it's like necessarily anyone bats an eye. It's just like I think that's just a result of polarization. I think, like, because like, there's one side that obviously cares a lot more about the fact that he's been convicted, and like Donald Trump's base, well, they're a cult, so he can pretty much do no wrong, yada yada yada, shit like that. So that's mostly why. And I mean, this is also like, I said this before on another panel I was on before about a couple days ago. American media has just done such a terrible job at like reporting like all the shit that's been going on with Donald Trump, unless it's like something that's like extremely sensationalized, they can get a lot of clicks for, guaranteed, very easily. Like, they're not going to do a good job at reporting it. Like, that's just blatantly obvious, you know, the yada yada, the consequences of commodified media causing problems for, you know, the average American's like understanding of you know, what's going on in their country or whatever. That's like, I think like probably one of the biggest factors for as to why it's as just like shitty as it is. At least, you know, that's what I like to think, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's a good take on it. I also like to, you know, do think we're kind of experiencing kind of a mass of apathy as a nation right now because we're just so fucking sick of one side versus the other, like playing against each other. Like anyone with common sense would be like, hey, how about we both shut the fuck up and try to figure this shit out and communicate and maybe come up with some things that might actually work to better things in the United States. But no, there's this constant back and forth thing that's just been expanded upon repeatedly between the two parties, and we're just not getting anywhere, any like headway with it. And so people are just sick and tired of the two-party system in what they feel like is just a lose-lose situation. So they're like, why the fuck should we care? Just put your head to the grindstone, work, have your money, come home, be done with it.
Yeah, I can probably understand that. I think that's like a problem that's probably been significantly exacerbated under Trump, because like, when did a lot of this like partisanship, like hyper partisanship type stuff really happen? Well, you know, it's when Trump hit the stage, and you know, all the rhetoric with like all the conspiracism, the demon rat shit, blah 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 blah. You know, I that's when it's it like really ratcheted up to 11. Was it there like, I don't know if it was there as much in like 2012 or like 2008 or something, like maybe a bit, maybe a bit during the Bush era. Who knows? I don't really know that era as well, but it's probably not as prominent as it is like now in terms of just hyper partisanship. And it's because of the inflammatory wills of one very orange boy, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I mean, not to mention the fact that our ability for communication has vastly expanded since the Bush administration. I mean, yeah, the internet obviously kicked in and that was a whole thing, but I mean, I don't remember where the quote comes from, but it goes something along the lines of the internet was a really great idea and it was also a really shit idea. You give everyone a voice, and not to say that people don't deserve a voice, but you have people that will exploit the living hell out of it. And we've already proven that Russia has been interfering with our elections. It's been proven, you know, that whole disinformation campaign they've got going on, and people don't, it's hard to trust what is factual when you've got so many people who are jaded to begin with and just absolute fucking monsters as far as that's concerned, versus what's factual media. And Trump gets a lot of that leeway because, well, his followers, like you said, they're very cult minded, and they can't. He could probably shoot somebody in broad daylight with the intent of murdering said person, and his followers would be like, "Oh, it was in self-defense."
Speaking of
The other person wasn't armed.
speaking of interfering with our elections and whether or not people need a voice, they want to kind of interrupt with some news that I don't love. Good news and bad news, right? So, ballot initiative for ranked choice voting was set for the ballot this year. It was pitted with language to require citizenship to vote. The idea was that
Which state?
for Missouri. The idea was that we're going to prohibit, it's literally labeled as such, prohibit citizenship, or require citizenship to vote, and prohibit ranked choice voting. It's to prohibit ranked choice voting from, right. At the
That's really weird. Okay.
At the state constitutional level. So it would change the state's constitution to follow state law, which doesn't allow for ranked choice voting, but now it's codified in the Constitution. So far, Amendment 7 is a yes vote at 67.5% with the yes vote. So we are...
Do the fucking Florida shenanigans there then, huh? None of that, right?
Yeah, it's I was expecting a little bit of a better turnout on that one. I think honestly it was the language of the way that it was put on the ballot that may have been a little bit misleading. But that's our attorney general. I guess to throw a fit at months ago, right? Here we are now. I absolutely fucking despise that. I'm so salty about this. Now they're only reporting 43%, but that's, in my opinion, that's that's enough for a nearly 2x lead. Well, over 2x lead. We don't love that. That said, though, Amendment 3, or with 42% reporting, is a yes vote. That's the right to reproductive freedom. This is the one that allows for codifies our state's constitution. It creates a constitutional amendment to ensure reproductive freedom for folks who would otherwise need it. So far, we're at 54% yes, 46% no, with 42% reporting. So this is promising that we can give a fuck about people, who need reproductive health services in this state. We can give a fuck about voting, but at least we can turn people on. And this was done through an initiative petition, by the way. So people had to be motivated to do something in the first place. So we do love this. It is possible to move people to show a little action. I really that fucked me up with the ranked choice voting thing. I really did not see that coming. Super salty about that. We are never getting to be Maine, boys. It's not happening here in the Ozarks.
Is Ozark red or blue predominantly?
We're an uncontested state is the problem, Kelly. So we're technically a red state, but a good portion of our state legislative seats they go uncontested. People don't run in their districts. The reason that we've had more women running for office in the last, the midterms and then this year, Leslie Jones, who was seated to join us here this evening, but she was doing another watch party with, I think, the local caucus there, Southwest Missouri. The reason folks like her are running this year and ran in the 2022 midterms is because they're running in seats that would otherwise be uncontested. they just, I mean, imagine that. Imagine you're like, I want to run for office. I'm gonna be a politician. I'm gonna be a big shot in the state's capital, and I'm gonna make decisions, life-changing decisions for all of the people in my state. I'm gonna get shit done. All right, and then you show up, and you file the paperwork, and you're like, all right, and what's the next step? How do I start my campaign? Who's my opponent? And they're like, no. You don't understand. You came. You win. They're like, well, really? No primary opponent. No
I don't have to do shit.
opposition party opponent. Yeah. No, and that's how a good majority of these douchebags in the Missouri state legislature and other states around here too, Kansas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, your sister's ass. A lot of states in this part of the country specifically, that's how a lot of their legislative members get those positions, is literally just fucking showing up and signing their goddamn signatures. And being a podcaster, maybe this helps. Having one of these is really, really useful for that. Maybe a fancier microphone or a fancier mic stand like what Daho's got, but having one of these,
this is nothing.
This is crucial.
Crazy.
Good old boom mic.
Yep. This ain't anything too crazy. Okay, you can get it off Amazon for like maybe $20. That's 20 Monopoly money. Okay, I'll have you know, very important. Our little plastic money. Okay.
All right.
We constantly play Monopoly here. Okay. In Canada.
It is cute though. You guys use different colored ink and shit. You got that one lady on all the bills. I love that for you guys.
That's only on our 20s. She's not on all of our bills.
Yeah.
I gotta give respect to
hundreds.
Canada for taking their currency seriously, considering it's called the loonie.
That's true. We got loonies, toonies.
Jesus, I was not aware of this. What?
It's because
You were?
No. What?
They have $1 coins and they have loons on them, so people just call them loonies. And then normally our $2 coins, or typically they have bears on them, but we call them toonies because they're $2 and they're 2 times loonies. And it's just funnier to say loony, so we just call them toonies.
Oh my god, I was not aware of this. Super Dave did not key me in on this.
Welcome to Canadian culture. Okay, this is real. This is real Canada hours actually.
Loonies and routine.
We got loonies, toonies, and fucking going out for a rip, bud. Okay. That's what we got up here in the fucking the sheet of ice that's called Canada.
Jesus. Loonies and toonies. Wow. So the only reason I know what a loon is because of the Tom Green song. We ain't got those down yonder. I don't think. I mean,
it's not that I know of.
Yeah, we don't even have magpies down here. Another gorgeous bird from the northern Texas region.
I don't know, skill issue, I guess.
Makes me laugh.
I don't know.
Makes me laugh when they say magpies are endangered. You come to Utah, they're all over the fucking place.
Really? I didn't even know you guys had them out there. They're a gorgeous bird. They look.
They're beautiful.
They remind me of like the blackbirds that we do have around here. It's just they have this like weird peacock tail for no reason.
Maybe they just got swag or something. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, they definitely got the heavy bird drip, heavy chicken drip, sexy chicken drip.
See, that's all that matters in the end, right? You have the drip, okay? That's what truly matters in the end. You got the drip.
So yeah, every other seat so far in Missouri is I feel a little, well, outside of the presidential, is a little too far to tell out. Possibly not the Senate race. It's so far not looking great for Kuntz, but we still have 42% reporting. Is at 53.13 for Josh Hawley versus 44.26 for Kuntz. 42% reporting, but
I'm not really anticipating much in terms of the Senate. Like, it's just statistically speaking, it's just like, Democrats more or less just got kind of the short end of the stick in terms of the Senate. Where it's just like, well, all these Senate races, just more of them happen to be Democrats, and more of them are secure, like for Republicans or whatever. I'm like anticipate. I like okay. I'm already like I'm using my psychic powers here to just make like a complete like the easiest call on like the planet. Like like Kamala Harris like wins or whatever, but she's probably not going to win the Senate, and I'm already like anticipating like all the fucking like dipshits on the internet to be like, oh well, yeah, like why isn't like Kamala Harris like doing anything about like anything, and it's just like, because the fucking Senate is just not working, guys. It's because politics sucks. It's just stupid and annoying. Like I don't know what to tell you guys.
It's so irritating to have that system too. Like, sure, you can win the presidency, but you can be hamstrung like immediately, and it's just it's absolute ass because it's like, well, I tried. That's really all you can say because the Senate's just like, nope, nope, nope. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. And it literally
same thing with the House, right? Like, unless they have to do something, right? Like, they're typically not going to do anything if it's under Republican control, because that's just like been their whole. It's just the Obama playbook for them. It's like disrupt, annoy, and just make it such that the systems of governance just doesn't function properly. And then since our base is that I say this with as much I guess non-vitriol as possible, a bucket of bolts, a bunch of dolts, like they don't know how civic processes work because of systemic disenfranchisement of like education, like just underfunding of like education. They don't know how their civic systems work, so we can easily just manipulate them into thinking like, yeah, it's actually just all the Democrats' fault. It's all their fault constantly. It's like, well, that's not exactly how that works. But yeah.
Yep. Plausible deniability.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, it's one of the most annoying things about the whole political shtick is it's why candidates vie for so much power to begin with. I mean, in Trump's case, he's a megalomaniac, but like ideally, whether you're in a presidential position, you want the House, you want the Senate, you want people to be on your side, but I don't think. God, I'm trying to think like when the last time a president was in that the like Congress, Senate, the House, everyone was in total agreement. God, it might have been when Roosevelt was in office because Roosevelt was an interesting president.
Wouldn't it have been Obama when he had supermajority in the House and Senate and they had the presidency? What do you mean? Like in terms of like bipartisan sort of like consensus of things?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like being able to be willing to work with the other side, kind of a deal.
Yeah, being able to get shit done and make the agreements needed to make progress. But instead, we've essentially got overgrown man babies just arguing it out because they all have different agendas on the table in terms of what they want and how they think things should be run. And like, I remember watching the debate with Trump and Biden. Well, Trump and Hillary, actually. And he was just the rudest motherfucker. Like, here you are in a position where you should have etiquette, have grace, have understanding, and properly debate. Instead, it was just nothing but vitriol coming out of Trump's mouth. And I'm like, I'm beginning to see why a lot of your business has failed, sir. Like, you are not the suave person you think you are. I think the spray on fucking orange tan has done its damage to your brain cells.
Oh, listen, it's either that or all the Sonenrad memes, okay?
The what?
The Sonenrad memes, the Iron Sun. The
thing that
yeah. It's either that or, that shit. That's rotted Trump's brain.
Speaking of rotted brains, I don't know if y'all can see a baby.
Speaking of rotted brains, hey,
Ooh.
that's not a fair assessment. Orange cats have the rotted brains.
That's true.
My
No, that
Yorkie's
cat doesn't look.
my Yorkie's kind of like
that
an orange
that
cat.
does. That I was about to say that cat does not look orange enough to have a rotted brain.
Oh, she is super
Yeah,
spoiled.
I don't see
That's,
I don't see a malfunction.
I'm not saying. I'm sorry, Chainsaw. I don't see color.
True. And neither does she.
Really, the one thing I'm hoping for at the very least is that, regardless of who wins, at the end of the day, that at least we can have some semblance of human decency somewhere. Though that's probably a really far-fetched fucking ideal at this point.
What are you, a hippie? That's crazy.
I
I'm
mean,
joking.
I'm not a hippie. I just believe in the firm rule of just be kind to other people, for fuck's sake. Not a,
No, that's true.
We don't have a lot of time on this planet to begin with. Why the fuck are you gonna just explode over every fucking thing? And like, I don't understand human nature at this point. Like,
I mean, isn't that unironically
So
exactly what we're what we're fighting for, or like voting for in this election? Though, is
oh, I agree.
is the underlying emergence of a totalitarian and authoritarian form of fascism that stems itself from a social conservatism unheard of since, well, just a few decades after the last time we had decided it was a good idea to put people into reform vacation
Reform
camp, summer getaways, but throughout winter.
Getaway. I have not heard it described like that before.
I'm trying not to use the phrase concentration camps because liberals get all ooh woo about it and start when you say concentration camp. Honestly, a lot of lefties do this too. When you say concentration camps, you get the and maybe this was pre the situation in the Levant, but when I noticed that when you would say concentration camps, immediately you would get pushback on, oh well, the Nazis had concentration camps. This isn't the same thing. They put people in there. It's not like they were genociding the people. They just moved them from their homes based on their racial
and put them in a congregation. You could maybe call it a gathering of some sorts, right. Or you could maybe call it a camp. I mean, shit, fuck.
Well, that's the thing. It's just like it's not
that voice you just did was very Gilbert Gottfried, by the way. Very nice.
I realize that I'm actually speaking about how people will downplay the ethnic cleansing of, if you will, of Japanese Americans during the war. And using that to compare the atrocities committed against Jewish folks in Eastern Europe, and I realize that while I'm using that poor comparison that I feel like folks do to justify the need for said relocation of Japanese Americans, I realize that while doing that, I am doing the pseudo Jewish shtick voice. I get that. Many of my Jewish friends think it's hilarious, and I don't know why I do that. Probably because I heard them doing that, and it's just a voice that But many people have commented on this in the past. They're like, "You sound like my uncle." I'm like, "What? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, God." Actually, might be not great.
Why are you doing a Jew voice, shaking? I'm being incredibly incredulous about it now.
The Jews told me they gave me a pass. Okay, all of my Jewish friends.
Listen, it's because it's the German ASMR bot thought. Okay, it's tapping into your
it's got to be
tapping into your Aryan blood. It knows. I'm telling you. Okay, right. You know what the Nazis said about the Japanese.
Well, I mean, if you want to go further back in terms of concentration camps, like America. With the Native Americans, the Trail of Tears.
True.
Where they force the Native Americans into these camps to relocate them and teach them the Christian ways of white men. So, I mean, our history is very muddy as well in that regard, and a lot of people don't learn from that history. They just either willfully ignore it or they just pretend like it doesn't happen. The one that gets me, like seriously gets me, is like the Holocaust deniers, the anti-Semitic, like, oh, that was the whole thing was faked. I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
So there's no way that they did the 6 million cookies things, right, guys? And those fucking guys. Oh god, those guys are always such fucking clowns.
Oh, they are. Like they're right up there with the flat earthers, and I'm just like, you lack extreme, like you have no critical thinking or thought process whatsoever. How do you survive on a day-to-day basis without unaliving yourself in some weird, spectacular fashion? I don't know.
You know, that's gonna be a question that puzzles historians for the rest of eternity. Sorry, I'm gonna have to say that they're gonna be puzzled for the rest of time until the heat death of the universe. On that one, you're gonna get them good with that one.
I mean, I was gonna say in some cases they do.
Oh, yeah. Seeing if anything has changed on the map.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to look at that. We're trying to load that anyway.
Really, so far.
What are you trying to load?
It looks like they're about to call, or at least the AP is calling North Carolina for Trump.
Just saw that. Yeah. So I've been looking at the Associated Press and Reuters map. Warlord sent me something earlier from New York Times, but yeah, I'm not a subscriber.
Fringe Lord Times. Got him.
I mean, for live feeds, they're a little bit more seriously.
Yeah.
You know.
They got like the fancy animations and everything going on there.
Yeah.
Typically.
But also, that's not going to be featured in real time on archive. Yeah.
I'd be like that sometimes. I don't know. I would be really surprised if this gets called today, honestly. Like, I really don't think it's getting called today. There's no shot.
So Associated Press is calling Virginia for Harris. Hurrah.
Mm-hmm. Mike from PA being an insufferable loser.
Again?
Fantastic. It absolutely fucking sucks to be right. Bitch, you ain't right about shit. You are not right about anything. Bro is saying like, oh man, I'm definitely right about Kamala Harris losing. Guys, you know.
Oh man.
Still a lot of shit to be fucking counted. Like, I mean, Michigan's only like not even 40% reported in. I guess even Kyle Kalinske.
Speaking of super
even
cope.
Kyle Kalinske. Yeah, Kyle Kalinski's even saying like, I was out 100% convinced the pollsters were hurting. I was wrong. These results are completely consistent with what the polls were showing. Honestly, like, still gotta wait and see.
Yeah, it's going to take time. Like, Ignore the early party poppers, as I like to call them. Are like, oh, we've won. You haven't won shit yet. Wait for the actual everything to be counted.
Yep.
This isn't a fucking like instantaneous thing. It just takes time, man. It's all there is to it.
Yeah, it's just a lot of people are just dooming. It's going to be kind of annoying, I think.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Oh, you're putting on the stream.
Yeah.
Hold on, gotta point.
Something that came up there.
6 months for telling the truth about the polling. He's been saying Trump is most likely to win for months. Almost nobody left thought Kamala would lose. Yet once again, Mike was right. What the fuck is this now?
Ooh, and yeah, I'm seeing this right now from Ted. Many votes to be counted in Detroit, Milwaukee, Philly, and Atlanta. And that was 9 minutes ago. Yeah. People are doomering for no reason. Those are going to be Democratic strongholds where there's been a lot of women, independents, and, Latinos and black people coming out heavy for the Democrats. It's you just gotta wait and see. People are just being doomers, I think, for no reason.
I guess I could just throw that in the chat so so you guys can actually read that.
Philadelphia and Detroit, heavy law enforcement is there. From Donald Trump on the minor social media website. That was at about 5 p.m. Mm-hmm.
Not really surprised, though. I figured people would be dooming and glooming all over the place. It's just the exact same thing happened previous election.
I need to take a screenshot of the stupid shit Mike from PA is saying, and I'll just be like wah wah wah, just so I can make fun of that fucking loser.
I just try not to engage with the fucktards anymore at this point, because no matter what you say or do, like you can present them.
Can't resist though. I hate them so much.
I feel that, but at some point you just gotta. It's almost like you just gotta let a Darwin Award happen to them at some point in their life, like natural selection. It's a thing.
That's true.
So I sent that to you guys, and
I don't understand. It's just the same thing is happening with like Red Mirage type shit. This is the exact same behavior that's happened before.
So Mike from Mike from PA is saying it absolutely fucking sucks to be right. I threw this in chat for you guys. And then
attacking everyone.
Wop Goblin quote tweeting Mike, which great source.
Another great cultural export of Canada right there.
Wait, really?
Oh, she's Canadian.
That doesn't surprise me.
She's from Toronto.
That doesn't actually
surprise me. That's why she's a fucking
dipshit. So Mike was constantly attacked by libs for 6 months for telling the truth about the polling. He's been saying Trump is most likely to win for months. Almost nobody on the left thought Kamala would lose. They called him a madman, yet once again Mike was right. Mike from PA was like actively shitting on Harris and promoting fucking. Mike from PA is one of these campus fucks who is actively promoting third-party voting in opposition. Right.
He's a turbo piece of shit.
And recently, throughout the entire election, wasn't it even after all of the shit came out about Butch Ware, that whole clip where it comes to find out he is in support of a 16-week abortion ban. He's also
no, Mike from PA sort of incredulously talked about it being like, oh yeah, the Green Party also sucks. Bitch, then why are you saying to vote for them? To vote for third parties? You want the fucking PSL instead or some shit? It's like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Unironically, people love the PSL, and God, that blows my mind.
You know, the cult.
Clown gonna keep clowning.
You just gotta fucking wait, but people are just being fucking stupid. It's literally just it's same Red Mirage fucking shit all over again. Main suburbs of population centers just haven't been counted yet. It's mostly just been fucking rural areas. People are dooming out for no reason, and there's gonna be a fucking blue shift. Then the blue wall states are just gonna all come in for fucking Kamala Harris, and then it's just gonna be over. Blue wall states in Pennsylvania, and then done. It's over for the Republicans.
So where are you seeing
And
that coming in from Ted, by the way? Is that a tweet or?
It was a tweet.
Oh.
Tweet from Ted.
I definitely guarantee you, though, the funny thing is, I can see this happening. If Kamala gets office, Trump and his lackeys are going to be like, "We need to impeach her. Need to impeach." I can already hear the rhetoric.
Oh, that was guaranteed because, like, you know, Republicans are fundamentally uninterested in governance. It's all about just like show and nonsense, and they don't give a shit about anything. Or like getting like deals from your fucking podcast or whatever. Like dumbass Ted Cruz fucking funneling in money from his podcast to his like election campaign, which is against the campaign finance violations. Just clown shit, dude.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me. It still cracks me up too. Like, what was it when Texas had that weird fucking polar vortex and Ted was trying to bow out with his family to Santa Cruz?
No, it's Cancun. Cancun
Or
cruise.
Cancun,
Right.
yeah.
And Cancun cruise. That was funny as fuck, to be honest.
Oh, I wasn't going to stay there. Bullshit, dude.
Yeah,
Bullshit.
yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Me neither.
Definitely. I wouldn't want to stay in Texas either. Okay. Oh, there's a burgeoning tech sector there. Eh.
Wait, so real quick, Daho, how are you on Node? Do you Node, bro?
Fuck is Node?
Node.
I've probably heard of Node.
Node.js. It's
Yeah.
It's
I've
like-
heard of it. I've
it's like
never
super.
used it.
Yeah, me neither. I know jack dick about JavaScript. That's why we have the chat that we have, and not a better one.
I've done a little bit of JavaScript before. It's annoying.
It's
Programming that shit is just like
it's beyond my comprehension. I'm not gonna lie.
it's very strange, to be quite honest.
Like HTML, CSS, I totally get that stuff, but like, and I mean, I guess there's some things in Java that I can recognize, like what it is, but as far as if I want to make it do a thing, nah.
Yeah. It's pretty much the same thing with a lot of like programming languages.
Well, because everything that I use, to set up the website is, it's all done in HTML and CSS, and everything else is like, third party stuff. So everything that has like its own server backend and whatever, it's all just kind of cobbled together. Whenever I spoke with Demon Mama, I mentioned to her a little bit. I was like, it's kind of like what you got going on, but it's like pieced together with duct tape, and it unironically.
Yeah,
but
not like them White Forest websites, basically, right?
it's no. So I don't know if you know the lore of all this. I've mentioned it a couple of times, I think off stream.
Be right back, gentlemen.
In different chats. I might have mentioned it on stream a couple of times, like if you know some of like the deeper lore on like how the stuff was pieced together. Like the White Forest sites and like where they come from.
Yeah, I know some of the lore. What it was originally developed by pretty sure it was Cake, who's Destiny's main like sort of web developer tech guy. I believe it was them who fucking originally made the sort of White Forest website. I mean, he obviously they made fucking DGG.
So from what I understand, there were people that were before Cake, and that they had, like, I want to say it was like, I think Cake had written about this, that it was like 1 or 2 or 3 people maybe, that had taken like a couple of different elements, and that's all listed on the White Forest stuff too. But they'd taken like a couple of different elements and they had used those to basically create a function that works like Twitch chat. I guess the whole purpose of like DGG's chat system was to function like Twitch chat.
Yeah.
And then Cake took over as like the guy, and then White Forest, I think it was because that was all made public domain. So White Forest was able to take that code, and they've, changed some things around as far as like their CSS and whatever, but it's basically, it functions, I guess,
similarly, yeah.
very much the same. Yeah. But it's all based on the same type of code, which I guess, and I've looked into it a little bit, and from what I can understand, which is very little, it is similar to a couple of other chat formats that I've seen that are used by like there's another one that I think might just be run by Cake. I have no idea, but it's I think it's just called like strims.gg. And it's one that just hosts yeah, I know, and no one has, and I don't think that anyone really knows much about it. It's just a website that has a chat like that. That's based on an older version of Destiny's chat. And they just host a bunch of different streamers, and it's like obscure streams from different platforms even. Yeah, it almost looks like a test site, but like just knowing that exists out there is like, oh, well, that's kind of neat,
Yeah, it makes sense, like the best way to like develop new functionality. It's like, you take some of the old stuff, you finagle around with it, you put it on top of like new stuff, finagle around with it, just mess with things.
Yeah.
It's generally how that stuff like that works.
See, from my perspective, I just enjoy being able to see like that chat alongside Destiny's chat and like notice the differences, because obviously there's a huge difference between like the CSS that's used in the White Forest sites and Destiny's chat. Like they're specifically, because of their branding, meant to look different.
Right.
But like those two, it's like, I don't know. It just, to me, it's like you can look at them and tell that like it was tweaked with just a little bit. And I'm sure that there are other things in the function that were improved for Destiny's chat and whatever, but I don't know. I find it interesting that was archived like that, and that it still exists. For what purpose? I have no idea. It literally just looks like it's there just because it can be. I have no idea what that website's there for, but it's interesting.
Yeah, it could be just like a testing environment for different features. That's probably what it is. No idea for certain, of course, but generally speaking, when it comes to stuff like that, it's like, it's like, we can like finagle with stuff here, see what works, what might not work, just like fiddle about, try stuff out, yada yada.
Right. I don't know. There's a lot of things about like how their CSS is, well, like for instance, the differences between the White Forest sites and DGG. That I mean, some elements to it I enjoy. Some of the things that have been added to DGG I thought were kind of innovative. The look and feel, the way that the people are able to customize that. I always kind of wondered if because my website is not, it's not that code, it's not anything, so I have no idea what that functions on, from the user side, from the streamer side. They on the White Forest website, they show a little bit of that interface. They can customize their emotes, they can customize the font, they can, I guess, you can make it look how, they kind of have a format. They all just sort of make it look like...
It's sort of similar to Twitch. Twitch has a lot of that sort of similar functionality. Obviously, it's not going to be as like free with it. Generally speaking, you can like customize a different, or like through a lot of like the third party sort of applications that you can use with Twitch, like your 7TVs, your BTTVs,
Right.
Frank Your Faces. You can do like a whole bunch of different customizations if you like subscribe to these things, and you can just like finagle with a bunch of different stuff. I assume similar stuff like that is in like the White Forest, DGG, the websites, and the like. That's my presumption. I wouldn't be surprised if that were the case. But like,
I mean, yeah, I'd be interested to see what they look like from that side. I just myself, I've never seen like how they actually look from that end of things. Because it's got to be in a way to where the person who's using it, who doesn't know dick about coding, is able to, go through it like their raids, for instance, or whatever. Which I don't know if you've seen like the White Forest website where it displays like how the user can change their fonts or change their emotes or all that stuff. If you've like looked at that too much.
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, I guess they've designed something on that side of things. So like if you're the streamer, you can log in and you can change all of those. You can customize the CSS based on what they have arranged in it. And, I thought that was pretty neat, that they allow for that. They have sliders and shit. Right. You can go through and change your font style, your font size, if you want to have the, like what is it, the silver outline, kind of like what Vosh has got versus what they have on DGG, which is just nothing. You can add badges, badge style or whatever. Like I thought that was
very like this is like Twitch does something similar stuff, but it's mostly like the third party apps where like you can like I've seen in like chats like people just have like crazy sort of like customized names with like different patterns and colors all over the place, and it's like, oh look the really fancy looking name and shit like that. I've seen this before. So, I wouldn't be surprised if it's something if it's all sort of like a cross-pollination of ideas sort of by like association, because it's just like, I got this idea from like here, or if there's like this thing like over there, it's like, it's kind of similar to this, and it's all just like, overall just kind of like all coalesced, or like, people looking on like Stack Overview or whatever being like, oh yeah, I've done like this thing, this is how I developed it, posted the code for it, blah blah blah, and like people just like snag it, tinker around with it a lot, and just like or a bit. It depends. I mean, that's honestly how I've done like a bunch of my assignments in like when I had programming assignments in like computer science before I moved to IT. It's just like, you take a thing from like Stack Overflow, you take this part here, that part there, and you tinker about with it, you mesh it together, and you like throw like duct tape on it and stuff, make it your own thing, blah blah blah. And it's like, oh, I've created this like new functionality or whatever. It's very common.
Yeah, there were actually a couple of things that I had come across on one thing that I'd seen that was sort of a new feature, because I look at this stuff just to kind of see how the bells and whistles and how the stuff works. And one thing that I had noticed is on DGG there's an option to where you can click on different streams. So like, I guess, and it's to encourage. I thought that was kind of innovative, and I'm actually I would be surprised if they didn't utilize that something similar later, because I thought about stealing the idea myself. They have an option to where you can click on different streams. I guess the idea is to encourage an offline chat. So you can click on different streams and links to the streams. So while you're chatting in DGG, you can watch who fucking ever is listed on there. And I'm like, man, that's actually kind of an interesting concept. It's not, and shit like that made me think, what does this look like from their side? What do raids look like from their side? Because, you hear Vosh talking about the raid button, And I'm like, I have a raid button, but I'm sure it doesn't look like his raid button. It certainly doesn't function like the Twitch raid button. But
Yeah.
I wonder what it looks like from their side. I've never seen, the only person I guess I really even know now who has one is Alec Gunter. And, I've been like, hey bro, get on your phone and, let me see. Give me a call on Discord, let me see what your website, but like I've never actually seen like what their stuff looks like from that side of things, just from the viewer side and, functionally and taking a look at archives. So, and then as a Twitch streamer streaming on YouTube, like knowing how these also function. But it is something I'm definitely curious about, like how their raid functions work. Because what I'm doing, obviously they're using JavaScript for the whole thing. What I've got is something a little bit different. So, but yeah, being like not the JavaScript guy, it's a little bit beyond me there.
Right. I guess it depends. Generally speaking, with like a lot of this stuff, it probably just like if I were to just take like a wild guess, it's just like the functionality probably works like, okay, you say where you want the particular thing to be pointed to, and then like he'll just be like, okay, well I'm pointing to this thing, and then like I'll change the like sort of display over to this chat and everything, and just have it load that page instead of that particular streamer. If I were to like just take a complete random just stab at the dark, and like thinking about how like a functionality about like that works, if I were to just take a complete guess, with like how a raid button does, it's like, oh, you can also use a command to do it, and from the chat or blah blah blah, where it's essentially just sets up like a pointer or something. I'm using like C++ language here. It's probably not necessarily the same for like JavaScript or whatever. Whatever's like the similar thing. You just have the thing point to the thing, and then it just sends you to the thing. That's simply put.
So that might be a little bit a little bit beyond me, just because. I mean, so what I've got is kind of similar to that, I guess, but instead of having we'll say instead of having well, okay, so if I wanted to change like what you look like my raids, I change what I guess what is being brought up whenever you're loading the page. So you load the live page, it brings up chat, it brings up the VOD.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I'm able to raid anyone. Is I switch what we're looking at on the player. So, and whatever's in the player, that's what we're looking at. But if I want you to change it, you have to go through and refresh your browser. You refresh your browser, the new code loads up of whatever's in the player. So like, but the way they're doing it is Vosh pushes a button, Destiny pushes a button, something happens on your side.
Yeah, then it just kind of goes through the motion in the background, generally speaking, is how stuff like that works.
See, that's where I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah. I could like I said before, it's like I can make educated guesses on how it could potentially work. Will it actually work like that? Maybe. Right. I don't know. Like, who the fuck knows, to be honest? Like,
yeah, and that's what I say.
It'll do that thing.
I'm sure they're using JavaScript for this. It's just I know dick about JavaScript, so and until I learn how all of that works, it's we're left with what we're left with. Right. Baby's first stepping stones over here. But, I think it works pretty well. Just encouraging the chat to, oh, okay, so stream is ending. To join the raid, refresh your browser. It's significantly better than it's unironically, and Kelly can attest to this, the raids, the way that they have brutalized Facebook for the streamers. That's actually, there is a way Kelly probably knows how to do this. Not a lot of people do, or if they do, they have fucking trouble with this. But there is a way to do raids like a normal person. It is very not normal and very kind of a pain in the ass. But the way that most people do raids is they'll actually just post the other streamer's link in their chat and be like, go there and tell them that I'm cool.
The only other way you can do it, aside from posting the link to that channel, is you actually, Facebook, I don't know what update changed it or how the fuck it changed it, but you go into your Facebook page, and then on the stream, on the stream that you've got posted that's live currently, you click the 3 dots on the upper right, and then you'll have the option to edit live video. Once you're in there, you can then click on End Live Video, and it will bring the raid prompt up. But outside of that, the only other way you can do is copy and paste the fucking link into the chat. That's the only other way.
Jesus. Yeah, and I figure it's kind of an improvement on that method. You know, not perfect, but somewhat of an improvement on having to do all of that in order to use the raid functionality on Facebook. So
I'm gonna grab some water real quick.
yeah. I'm give me just a second here.
That's another thing they should do for the elections too. Instead of like saying, "Oh, it's election day," they should be like, "Oh, it's election week. We're gonna find out over the process of several days who wins." Like, don't call it an election day because people are just gonna doom and gloom it. Like, be realistic.
I mean, I feel that. You know, it's funny though, because a lot of this stuff, started from, when we had the resources to like literally show up with, horse and buggy and all that. What is it? A lot of the laws with regard to, Jesus Christ, I can't even think of what the hell it is. The, hold on. No, I know what it is. I just can't think of the name.
The old archaic term from yonder days.
I haven't had to think about this in a while. The Banking Act of 33, Glass-Steagall. So like part of the reasons why, we take, 2 to 3 business days for funds to settle and is because it literally would take, 2 to 3 days for your funds to actually arrive by horseback and shit. We kept this as a tradition for, virtually no reason. Honestly, you say election week, I think, well, we live in the information age here. This is,
yeah,
we really should be a little bit beyond this, but honestly, it seems like it's just made it significantly worse and more conflated with things like mail-in ballots of, electronic ballots and the recounts, and with people like the Duke of Orange here, it really, we would think that we would be slightly beyond that as far as having the need to even ironically bring up such a topic. But here we are in the year of our Lord 2024 thinking this is like a week-long holiday now. How is anyone supposed to concentrate? I'm getting DMs right now of people who are like, also reading the doomerism and, having the silent panic attacks, who aren't, it's either the first or second election that they've ever paid attention to, really, and are honestly and genuinely concerned, so.
No,
I mean, yeah, it's understandable this year. I mean, there's a lot riding on the table aside from the orange megalomaniac. I mean, you've got and they can deny it all they want. And I'm not normally a conspiracy theorist or any of that shit, but I could see certain cogs functioning along the lines of that stupid fucking what do they call it? Project 2025, that thing? That whole manifesto they wanted to rewrite like the entire fucking constitution, et cetera, et cetera. Like, there are genuine concerns about that, and like I've decided like to torture myself, as I'll call it, and I decided to read the whole Project 2025 front and
Oh
back.
dear.
And I was like, Jesus Christ, why is this even a thing? Like, who the fuck in their right mind? And I'm thinking, wait a minute. No, I can see this. I can see why they'd want to push for this and essentially, like, ultimately turn us into this Christian nationalist fucking United States. And it's just ridiculous. And I'm like, that's very dystopian. I can see why a lot of people do. I think it would ever happen? I would certainly hope not, because I'd hope to fucking God that common sense would prevail and be like, no, 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 no. But we have a lot of people who are just, I'm just going to be blunt and say they're religious zealots and assholes. And they would love to see something like this get traction.
Yeah, there's also like a lot of misinformation that constantly goes around as well. That's the thing. You know, as much as people like to meme on the Mueller report, you know, there was actual indictments that came out of that. People were actually held liable, and like Trump campaign officials did go to jail. Like was it as long as it should have been? Oh well, no, probably not. But like, yeah, you know, there was like some kind of accountability. It did happen, but like, I mean, it's just the consequences of like just the amount of like commodification and like media and stuff. It just makes it really just like a complete shit show fest for like no reason. And you know, to people having to chase clicks instead of it being able to like convey necessary information to be able to like properly educate readers or whatever. And it's just like, well, yeah, it's just that's just that. These are the active consequences. You're gonna get people who don't really believe as much in their civic processes. They're gonna be more vulnerable to like a lot of like Christian nationalist shit or like the stupid fucking tanky shit. Even like, I would extend it to that as well. And it's just a complete failure and all the consequences of overly commodified media. You know, something capitalist realism, something Mark Fisher, and shit like that.
Yeah. And I just want there to be peace. I hope to God that people see reason. I hope that Kamala gets in because obviously Trump being in office would be a disaster in its own right, but also because, as Robin Williams once said, politicians make for great comedy.
Sure.
And Trump losing his shit is some of the funniest thing I have ever seen somebody just go ham over.
I mean, you're not wrong. So in the year of our Lord 2024 at 12:18 a.m., we are looking at Kamala Harris with 210 electoral votes. Donald John Trump with 230 electoral votes. Thus
like I said, yeah, the gap will close. That's just how it is. That's how it's always been with elections in particular.
looks like Nevada's still not reporting.
I mean, the early stuff that I was seeing from like Clark County was looking pretty good for the Democrats there. So I do think they're probably going to win in Nevada. Just gotta wait and see. So that'll be another like swing state, basically.
I'm having an issue pulling up this
like
AP
again,
map.
like it's just the thing. The thing is it's just going to be blue wall states in Pennsylvania. That's mostly what's going to be looking at. Because if those if those go blue, especially after all the votes from the main urban centers and suburbs around there, which are going to be heavily favored for Kamala Harris. Like think about it this way: the fact that they're as close as this is right now, like 100,000 in Wisconsin, down what about 180,000 in Michigan, down about 170,000 in Pennsylvania. Main urban centers haven't been counted yet. That's not good for the Republicans. That's pretty bad for them. It'll be more interesting to see what happens in Georgia. And that'll be much more interesting, especially once all the stuff from Atlanta gets counted. Because I believe that's what's mostly left.
Right.
Or is it Atlanta? No. I think it's in part of the southern parts of the state. I think they might be done with the main urban centers. I could just be wrong. Just gotta wait and see.
Well, with that, I think I may have to cut tonight a little bit short here, fellas.
Yeah. I don't think really much of anything's gonna change. Probably not for a while. The only thing that could be interesting is just Nevada. Just Nevada. That's all that's pretty much left, to be honest. Where whatever could happen. That's pretty much all that's left at this point.
Mhm.
For significant change, but it might have probably going to go for the Democrats. I mean, some other smaller states still haven't even been reported, and Minnesota hasn't even been reported yet. Not everything's 100% called. So I mean, this gap is going to probably still close. I think it's just normal behavior. I think because you're looking at the map. It's mostly just stuff that's probably gonna be leaning blue. That's all that's really left. But yep, just gotta wait and see, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, everything, will fall into place eventually. It's a waiting game at this point. It's all it is, waiting game, just to see where the dice fall, so to speak.
Pretty much, yep.
One thing's for certain, 6 a.m. tomorrow on Twitter. We'll definitely have some more opinions.
Campists, the campists are gonna be like, "Oh, we were right the whole time." Fucking cringe-ass Democratic Party. We're right, and it's just yeah, man. Sure.
What's that?
There was also, funnily enough, there was some reports of bomb threats at predominantly black polling places. That was the thing that happened. There was 2 bomb threats. Yep, 2 bomb threats happened.
Fucking
yeah!
Don't let the blacks vote. Oh God, no, we can't have that.
Can't have them fucking racial minorities voting, brother.
I'd heard a little bit about this. Wasn't that either in Georgia or in Atlanta?
I don't have the 100% details, but it was somewhere in Georgia. I don't know if it was in Atlanta. My guess was it was probably in Atlanta, but
Non-credit. Okay, so according to CNN, non-credible bomb threats against Atlanta area polling places. Wait, what? What? We're from Russia? Secretary of State says.
It's fucking weird.
Holy shit!
Dude.
What?
It's kind of wild, honestly. It's very, very goofy, goober tier shit.
Oh my
Russians,
god.
Russians
From
really don't want.
Russia regarding our election if we let people vote. Okay. What
Yep.
the fuck? I mean, I know Putin and Trump are all buddy buddy, but it's like that's definitely fucking weird.
Yep. Kind of goofy. If it did come from the fucking Russians, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but it's just like, I don't know if they would go that far. Or if it's just like hysterics. I mean, that could also be possible, but you know.
According to CNN, several non-credible threats briefly disrupted voting at 12 Georgia polling places. Originated from Russia. Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffin. Some threats are from Russia origin. I don't know how to describe that viable, but we don't think they are. But in interest of public safety, we always check that out. Okay, so what a thing to say, I guess.
I gotta check it out, guys. Yeah, I
And
just gotta make sure, guys.
We'll continue to be very responsible when we hear about stuff like that. We identified the source, and it was from Russia. Oh, okay, so it might not have been. Oh wait, yeah, it was. I guess they're up to mischief. It
I
seems.
shouldn't laugh, but Jesus Christ, like the circus is in town. That's the only vibe I'm feeling right now. Is the circus is in town. Good God.
Raffensperger, a Republican, did not elaborate on how exactly state officials determined the bomb threats came from Russia.
It's funny because it's Republicans that are saying that. So.
Yeah. Russia.
Oh, Russia. Russia's an interesting beast all its own, right? Though one thing that Trump unfortunately has had a side effect of doing is he's empowered a lot of these asshole leaders, like what is it in Venezuela, Madrazo or whatever his name is, who refused to fucking secede his seat. Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Where they had a fair election, he lost by a landslide. He's like, psych, fuck you, I'm staying in. I don't care.
No, wait, what do you mean? He's our based Marxist-Leninist, like third worldist, proletarian revolutionary leader of Venezuela. I don't know what you're talking about.
Second thought loves him.
Oh, we've got to have one, right? Just to keep the balance. I see what you're saying.
I mean, unironically, like a bunch of tankies were actually making that argument. It's just like, I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, guys. It was very, very cartoonish, to be honest. I'm just like, all right, sure, Jan.
But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be moving to the UK in December. I've got my flight and all that shit booked. And the UK kind of went through a wave of that stuff recently, where they actually just had to mobilize mass police forces because there was a stabbing over there. And of course, the right wingers blamed it immediately on Islam.
Muslims.
Like, yeah, exactly. They went.
It's the immigrants.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what Brexit was over. Was they were voting to kick people out of the country, which that spectacularly failed. Yes, they passed Brexit. They left the European Union, but they didn't do anything for immigration reform. It did shit except hurt their standing in Europe. That's all it did.
And the economy also, like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But this whole stabbing incident that occurred, they like a bunch of right wingers like threatened to come out, like essentially they were acting like Nazis, saying they were gonna string up any Muslims they saw and all this other shit. So the police mobilized and they pushed them back into their holes. But even like conservative right wing, like it's it's both comical and scary just how far reaching right wing extremism is. Like it's baffling because you put anybody with a degree in political science, like my uncle has a degree in political science, and he's like, yeah, no, we need to stop this bullshit of bickering back and forth, form bipartisan relationships, figure shit out, and progress forward as a nation because we're not fucking doing it right now. That's for damn sure. We're going backwards instead of making progress. And it's a syncopated mess in all regards.
Yeah, it's just the problem is like, and I think this is like a lot of the problems that like it's there's like a general sort of assumption that like both sort of sides are supposed to like operate in good faith. It's like, well, what happens when on one side just operates completely on bad faith, which is the general conservative playbook is to just operate completely on bad faith. And like a lot of people don't necessarily take into account, I feel, because like it's obvious with like just conservatives in general, they don't give a shit about anything. Like it's all about just raw a wielding of power for them. Like overall, like that's all they care about. You know, your sort of like idea of like might makes right and shit like that, yada yada. Um, Power for the you know wielding power just for the sake of like domination. Like yeah, like
my way is the right way, and if you don't like it, tough shit.
yeah, pretty much. So then it's like the question then becomes like, well, how are you supposed to work with that? It's like, well, you can't. You have to like expunge that. You have to extinguish it. You know, like because it's not sustainable. Like you can't work with that at all whatsoever. I mean that's what has to be done. Like people being tried for like sedition or like actual like you know Merrick Garland not being a fucking pussy and actually like prosecuting people for fucking crimes and shit like that. Because like a lot of this could have been very easily prevented if fucking like Merrick Garland just wasn't a fucking coward. But like it was, oh, you know. Unfortunately, can't do that because like antiquated DNC strategy and a fucking like a limp dicked fucking DOJ. Um, so it's been sort of allowed to like sort of accelerate to these points. Like,
Yeah, I really feel like, you know, conservatives at one point had a place in history in terms of being conservative. The definition essentially boils down to approaching something with reserved steps. You know, that's the base borderline definition. And it's like, but instead, conservative has turned into this nightmare fueled, no separation of church, like the far right wingers, the Christian nationalists, no separation of church and state. God has to be in school. God has to be in politics. God has to be in everything. And from there, it goes into just ridiculous amounts of just shoving your beliefs on people down people's throats. Conservatives have completely lost the ability to effectively gauge and be a part of a real world government at this point. I feel like they've totally lost touch with everything.
yeah, pretty much. Like, I mean, there's a whole lot of different factors for as to why that is. It's I mean, you know, you can like sort of extend it all the way back to like the stomping out of Nazism, like Germany sort of style, and like everywhere. I mean, like global stamping out of it. I think that has a sort of part to play in for it to as to why that's sort of the case. Because there's like no proper like sort of denazification that happened in like other states or other like nations besides Germany. I mean, even then, like, guess what? With the AFD, those guys are they're trucking on back. They're coming back. We're gonna get the you know the return of the Fourth Reich, boys. Kind of a deal. It's just like, yeah, it's the problem is that like the bad thing that is obviously bad did not get clearly stamped out, and so as a result, everything's just kind of like all just just kind of all just degenerated into like just a complete fucking farcical nonsense shit show.
Well, I mean, look at how it was stamped out. I mean, it became a caricature of itself until it became a novelty, and then it became nostalgic. And it wasn't just the aesthetic that, you know, is what's coming back. I mean, you start. Maybe it's just because, you know, I'm 100 years old, and so I remember like at a time in the United States before we had actual Nazis rolling around, and when people just used to think that trench coats were cool, and that you know, swastika tattoos were badass, but they weren't like actual Nazis. They like no things.
We're just being like really edgy contrarians, bro. We're like just totally subversive with our swastikas, bro.
Yeah, just like my favorite YouTuber, Sarkon. You know, I'm an antitheist, bro. I like Hitchens. I like freedom of thought, and you know, hey, did you know Jews control the media? I mean, unironically, like that's kind of how
that's what he did. He did do that.
The tinfoil hat has arrived.
I'm just, you know, it's actually not new. You know, I say this sarcastically, but that's actually how that happened. And you know, we're just talking about leather coats and nice, you know, thick black stripper boots here. You know, it went beyond the aesthetic, and you know, to becoming an actual, you know, as opposed to a no good time thing, to unironically, hey, do you think the Jews really control the media, bro? And I saw this, I guess, from afar. Okay, so like part of my lore is Ted Von Newcomb. Used to work with the guy, used to play chess with the guy, used to know him personally. Buddy of mine used to date his sister. You know, like we used to hang out. It's the second most popular Nazi before he joined as leader. If you're unfamiliar, but yeah, you know, like, well, so you guys have seen the you know who I'm talking about, right? You've seen the pictures of the pitchforks or the kids with the tiki torches and all that. He was the blonde one. Yeah, so, you know.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah. So, you know, like.
Oh, okay.
I didn't see, like, the transition, but, like, I saw him before, and then I saw him when I read about him in the paper. And then, you know, more recently when I read about him in the paper. But, like, I knew him, like, before all of that, and it's like, yeah, Teddy wasn't a Nazi, man. Like, I can't imagine being like, oh yeah, Teddy is an unironic Nick Fuentes fan. Or it was actually the guy that, you know, was there and was like kind of the face of that whole thing. I can't imagine someone telling me that back in 2005 and me thinking, oh yeah, no, that's totally Teddy, bro. Like, I would not have seen that coming. Not even a little bit. But like I say, it goes from a no good time. You know, we're just being edgy boys to, you know, for the aesthetic purposes, because, you know, Teddy did wear the jacket, you know, but
it's,
you know, so you mentioned, not stamping out Nazis. And I think, you know, I mean, yeah, sure. In some aspects we didn't, but I mean, I feel like in some aspects, like, we focused more on the aesthetic of Nazism and less on what it actually meant to be a fascist. You know,
okay.
We were more worried about the swastikas and the black leather jackets that were just as sexy then as they are now. Let's be real. That's why they had them. They existed before that. And we missed on. And I blame liberal politics for this. We missed on the ideals and the concepts that allowed fascism as a greater whole. The focus on Nazism as a microcosm versus fascism as a greater whole. I mean, look at the past that we give to, you know, to well, not now, but throughout my entire young history, and, you know, those who came before me. to Mussolini and Italian fascism, as a Japanese American who's, look at what we look, the up until recently, the lack of focus on authoritarianism in even post, war Japanese society and government and whatever, just even socially, the way that society functions as a whole. We've given that a pass over the aesthetic. I'm more worried about what's going on in those kids' heads than how long their fucking trench coats are. And I have been since I was one of those kids wearing the trench coat, trying to be edgy in 98. And thinking to myself, boy, it's a shame they don't have more social security support for these old people in the fucking, low income housing and Section 8 and shit. It's so weird how they still have to pay rent sometimes.
Unironically, just getting thoughts here. What is your view on this current conflict, Israel-Gaza? Like Netanyahu and his extreme measures. Like I recently read that they were assigning the Palestinian people numbers like detainees, and I'm like, sure you want to do that, Israel?
Yeah, that's not a good look.
That's
not a good look.
No, I wonder who they might be imitating.
I know, right? I was like,
Jesus Christ.
Dude, like maybe, like I get they attacked you, but Jesus, you are literally following certain trends from history that I don't think you want to follow. Like, really don't want to follow.
That's not a good look. That's a bad aesthetic. I'm glad we focused on that one being bad. You want my opinion? I think it's a good thing we focused on tattoos and that sort of thing. State enforced tattoos as being not a great thing. I'm super glad that we picked that one. That's more important than the length of their fucking coats, for sure.
Yeah.
Or how sexy their boots are.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's unsurprising to me. Like Israel's is like the sort of current modern iteration of the fucking with like different dynamics of like a sort of like colonial like incredibly like fascistic, like I don't want to say Nazi state.
Yeah,
but because it's not the same thing, because they're not anti-Semitic, but even though like Zionism itself is anti-Semitic, it technically isn't. It's kind of like weird, but like obviously like about as like fascist as you can go, sort of like a genocidal colonial state. They're like basically doing all the meme without like fully becoming and embracing like the fucking meme. Like,
yeah, I feel like that's a fair statement. I've been watching the trends over there, and I'm like, you guys are starting to veer into territory of history that you really don't want to be going into. Like, don't get me wrong, the Middle East has been a shit show for a long time because there are so many different religions blended over there that they all argue all the time about which is right, which is this, which is that. It's a mess and very, very unstable, geographically speaking. Just, it's been that way for hundreds, if not thousands of years. But you'd think that Netanyahu would be like, Jewish people, Nazi Germany, assigning numbers to people, labeling them as detainees. Not the smartest fucking thing to be doing.
Not the best look.
Sorry,
sweetie, not the best look.
I think that if Professor Richard Dawkins were alive today, and he wanted to make that documentary about, why the Levant needs someone like him and a movement like antitheism. I don't know. I've thought about this, because I joke, because he's fucking mummy and literally himself a weird shadow of his. Or maybe it was just me. Maybe I was just cringe back when that whole thing started. But I've read a few, not of his books, but Hitchens. I've read a few of Hitchens's books back when I believed that reading was a good thing. But I've seen Dawkins, interviews, and he's done a couple of documentaries where he goes to Levant and he starts speaking with people about, their religious beliefs and how they're, in different countries, they're a little more totalitarian than what we might experience in places like Mississippi and Georgia. And I can't help but think of that when I look at the situation going on over there now, like how easy it must have been at that time, and how, while antitheism is cringe today, and I'm perfectly fine with taking the anti-Dawkins crusade, like, I don't know, like maybe we just send him over there.
Like maybe he can be the prophet.
Yeah, right. Maybe we just dig up Hitchens and send the two of them. They seem to like relics and shit. They could do a thing. I don't know. Sacrificing I don't know. But like, I don't know. I don't dare finish that thought. But it makes me think. It makes me think a lot about, that early 2010s era and the messaging. I guess the purpose of the messaging behind antitheism at that time, and the way things turned out, not in the interest of anything positive for society. But I don't know. I guess if anybody in the world needs Dawkins, it's literally every single fucking person living in that particular region of the geography.
I am inclined to agree with you. And I just, that's another thing that gets me a little bit on edge too, admittedly. And is the whole woke cancel culture. Now, I understand certain things should obviously be looked at with a better through a microscope and analyzed and understood for what they can teach us, history and current times, and we know better. Like, obviously nowadays versus medieval times, we know that inbreeding is bad. Just as a very loose example, Habsburg jaw and all that. Oh shit, these are medical conditions aside from the moral implications. Not good.
I'm on Twitter. Most everyone knows this is bad. Say about a third of them are kind of into it.
Suddenly you just hear, but ding, 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 ding. Anyway.
I heard that at the gas station earlier today, unironically, before I got here. I'm like, wow.
Incest, more like wincest, am I right, guys?
Oh, God.
Contrarianism.
But woke cancel culture, like where they're calling for everything to be like, no, you can't do this or that anymore. We want these gone, erased from history. And I'm like, I want you to think about history for a second and the lessons that it has to teach before you want to make it non-existent, because that just doesn't seem like a good idea. Like the other day, and this was the stupidest thing, I got into a weird debate, argument, conversation with somebody. This woman was completely going off on a hinged topic that anybody who used the word goblin was completely anti-Semitic, should be punished to the full extent of the law, yada, 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 just no broach whatsoever in that, field. And I'm like, well, I would argue that by you trying to demonize the word itself, that you are drawing more attention to it and thus making it worse for the people who the slur is intended for, which just so happens to be Jewish people. And I'm like, the word goblin these days is so far removed from that. I feel like, yes, I'm sure maybe in some dark corners of the world that it might still be used to reference Jewish people. But primarily nowadays, it's a fucking thing in anime or D&D.
Well, I mean, keep in mind, it was a J.K. Rowling. I believe she purposely wrote that back into the literature in Harry Potter.
Yeah, well,
Wasn't that their? I haven't seen those movies until like I think more recently. Isn't there a like the banker character is like a goblin banker and is very
Yeah, and they're very Jewish coded. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, there is that, but that was done with the direct creation of the writer, aka J.K. Rowling. She was throwing out anti-Semitism very
Right.
obviously, but in normal circles where people are like, no, we just view it as like a a character in a game or a like
Or
literature
like any
piece.
fantasy setting, really.
Yeah,
See, people don't
exactly
know
like-
this, and this is why Kelly's not streaming right now. Is that Kelly's actually going there to bring back Hadrian's Wall and save humanity?
Ah, based.
Right. It's literally going to build it himself.
Based.
If I could do that, I would be way richer and better off, I would think. But all jokes aside, no, like yeah, she definitely put the nail in that in terms of her views on it. Like you can't like there's even anti-Semitic shit in the Hogwarts Legacy game. And J.K. Rowling, she's a fruitcake to begin with. Like her views are absolutely mental when it comes to people, but then again, I have to wonder how much of that is from her, because obviously we all know that she didn't start off as this world famous writer. She was literally homeless, living on the street, surviving where she could. And then she gained traction when she started writing the Harry Potter. And in that vein, it's like, oddly enough, you've become the thing you're making anti-Semitic comments about, because sure, you're brandishing this as a weapon towards Jewish people, saying they're goblins, all this, but what did money do to you before when you were homeless, and suddenly now you have this opinion that Jewish people are evil or whatever, however you want to sugarcoat it and dust it in your books.
And she's lobbying the parliament to be a fucking weird turf for no reason.
Yep.
outside of she's afraid to shit in public because she's afraid of her own shadow.
It baffles me. It's like, but the cancel culture, my main point is this. It's like, sure, look at things through a microscope, understand them better, realize, hey, this isn't a good idea. Maybe we should, shelve this for the rest of time. But don't forget the lessons it taught. That's the one toxic aspect of cancel culture I can't fucking stand. It's like you are literally trying to erase something from history and forego any and all lessons that it could teach. Yes, it's a bad thing that, that happened. Should we just erase it and run the risk of repeating? No, absolutely not. History needs to be there to be able to build a better future off of. Period. And cancel culture in the United States is terrible right now. It's mind-boggling.
I don't know if it's just the United States, but yeah, no, I'll agree with that.
I mean, it could be obvious. I mean, I don't watch as much world news, so maybe I'm missing out on segments of that. But it just feels like we're foregoing the lessons we should be like heavily in the United States. Like a perfect example that I can bring to right now is a cross comparison between Richard Nixon, and Trump. Watergate, he had his own methods of trying to usurp power to keep power. Trump is doing the exact same thing. But you give history to anybody who wants to. Oh, did we lose him?
I think Daho might have lost the camera.
Uh-oh.
Or taken a phone call.
Nope.
I think
it's all good. It'll come back. I touched my hub. just a tiny little bit. It freaks the fuck out. Happens
You
all the
should you
time.
shouldn't be touching your hub on camera. It's not appropriate anyway.
True.
Well, you know. Listen, I'm just straight jorking it in my jorts, okay?
I'm always saying this.
But back on point with like, we're forgetting history, and Nixon, like, he demonized minorities. Trump's demonized minorities. He's tried to cheat. Trump's tried to cheat. Should we really be forgetting history lessons? Or I just don't understand how it is so easy for people just to look at historical fact and be like, that's not real. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I mean, there's the delusion, the mass delusion, right? I feel like a lot of that goes back to the conversation about the enshittification of social media. We're able to create hug boxes where we can spin whatever narratives that we want to, based solely on a lack of pushback and a lack of criticism, or minimal criticism, and more support for these niche concepts. Now, this can be good for, growing more niche ideas, philosophies, social concepts, politics, even. 10 years ago, I think folks, well, like myself, and I'm assuming Daho, just based on some of the social interactions I've seen you have and some of the content that I've seen of yours, political content. So Kelly, you're out the loop on this one. This is the most political I've seen you get, so we learning things about each other. But folks like Daho and myself, and I can't imagine Daho hanging out with me and coming across Lee Camp and thinking, boy, that fucking guy's kind of based.
Oh god, that guy's a fucking idiot. Jesus Christ, that guy's a fucking troglodyte.
So before the enshittification of social media, our options were somewhat limited. Because Daho and I could sit here now and have a normal, decent conversation about our opinions with regard to politics or social issues or whatever. And maybe as close as just 15 years ago, we might have disagreed on a couple of different things. Or a lot of different things. Still coming from the same types of backgrounds that we do now, and drawing our opinions about political relations from the same experiences that we'd had previously, anyway. But I feel like, so there is an upside to the niche, hug boxes, in that you can create a community with like-minded folks without having to deal with Lee Camp or whoever Daho would have been hanging out with that wasn't Lee Camp. I'm assuming, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm assuming it might have been something more liberal-minded, more specifically liberal-minded at that time. Like what kind of content were you consuming at that era? If not the garbage of RT, would it?
Yeah, so I used to be an old Hassan head. Back, when he was doing more like explicitly political shit before, like all the React shit, and he tried to like use it as like a way to like attract like more normie viewers. But otherwise, I was an apolitical gamer. Basically, I just did not mess with it at all.
Really?
But then I sort of figured, I was just like, oh, you know what? I'm curious. Perhaps it would be a good idea to start to learn how to engage with politics, blah, 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 blah. And so, like, the YouTube algorithm served me, like, TYT, Kyle Klinsky. That's where I obviously ran into Hassan. It also gave me a lot of Tim Pool, some Jordan Peterson, and fucking James Alsup. But I watched, like, one Alsup video, recognized the immediate, like, Gamergate 2014 era rhetoric. I'm just like, all right, this guy's a fucking idiot. Moving on. immediately.
See, I discovered Pac-Man and TYT around the same era, so 2010, 2011.
Oh, this was 2019 for me.
Was he the same dude who is like extremely spiteful towards women in gaming? Right, that's what Gamergate was essentially, was gatekeeping.
Okay, it's there's
So much.
Oh man, there's so much more to
You're
it.
you're asking my entire history here, bro.
That's there's a lot to Gamergate. I mean, the reason why we're sort of in the sort of malaise that we find ourselves in is a lot of it is the byproducts of Gamergate.
True.
To be quite honest,
Gamergate is part. Gamergate is part of the reason. Well, it's firstly the reason that I came back to politics, but it's also part of the reason I find myself in such great advantage. But also, since you mentioned cancellation, it's also why I'm often finding myself getting canceled online. So.
Yeah.
As a Gamergate veteran.
It's like, oh boy, you people have. It's like, yeah, you got no idea about the shit that I went through. But then again, I mostly just avoided Gamergate because I'd be like a prime target for it. You know, high school kid, fucking high school kid. It's not really much of a name in the world. Sort of like a deal. I an apolitical sort of gamer bro who could easily be swayed by the arguments of like, there are ethical problems in like games journalism type deal.
Wait, are you that much younger than me? I had no idea.
I'm 28.
Okay.
Born in 96. So, however, I was doing my own thing, mostly watching Hearthstone on Twitch. And I was like I want to be like an esports guy. I want to be an esports professional or some shit. Or learn how to code in game development. So here I am now. Not doing any of that. So I pretty much avoided like YouTube at that point, like pretty much like the plague, because I sort of had an idea in the back of my head. I'm like, okay, this is fucking bullshit. I was raised by two fucking bullshitters. Okay, I was raised by like two fucking hustlers in fucking Ceausescu's Romania. Okay, I know how to fucking detect my bullshit. This shit was fucking just. I had like a feeling in the back of my mind. I'm like, this is fucking nonsense. All this Gamergate fucking shit. So I never fell for it. Basically, I never went down the rabbit hole. I never became like the fucking like a crazed fanatic. Even though I was prime target for it. And I was just like, nah, I'm built different. I'm ignoring that shit like the fucking plague. So that's pretty much my sort of like history with like Gamergate and like political history. I was mostly just like apolitical and never really got into it. And then, I got into the whole fucking Hassan circuit, and then Bernie lost in 2020, and I didn't become a Bernie or Buster because of just like, I mean, that's American politics. It's all stupid fucking bullshit. But you gotta soldier on, kind of a deal. And then I found Vosh. Well, I already knew Vosh sort of through reverse osmosis of like every fucking Hassan mod having a conniption about him. And then I was just like, wow, Vosh is way more fucking reasonable than most of these dipshits. And then now, and then I became a humble Voshite, and I am still a humble Voshite.
I unironically just saw Turfs Aren't Women, Seiko. Just quote tweeting someone who was bitching about how the Trump support is basically just a product of men not voting for Kamala, which is unironically true. And her response was to let me see here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It grabbed my attention because I thought, of all the people who had more recently, well, Spoiler alert. So this person, regardless of the election's results, it's obvious this country has gotten way more right wing, especially amongst men, and I think a lot of that is fed to us online. We have to figure out a way to stop every dude under 35 from turning into crypto Hitler, which is true. So Seiko quote tweeted.
I don't mean to laugh, but I like that term, crypto Hitler.
Well, so Seiko quote tweeted, this person said, "You all hated him for it, but Vosh was right about this one. He said, we need a leftist to answer to Andrew Tate." And everyone gasped, saying, "You want us to cater to men?" And I thought, you know, it's funny because like a lot of fucking people really fucking mad at me recently, actually, for basically for taking a similar stance. Part of so and to not just sound like the the simpering Voshite to my left here.
Well, you know.
Unironically, so part of my, which, yeah, I'm a fan of Vosh as well. You know, you can see my website here. I didn't make this shit up on my own. Of course, he didn't either. We're all just Destiny clones. That's why we're on Twitch playing video games.
I mean, this is true.
It's actually kind of, there's more lore to that than expected. But yeah, so my lore with Gamergate is that I'd left politics in 2012. I'd been working on the Republican campaign as one of many progressive Democrat voters who worked for the Republican Party at that time, working for that contracting company. And the 2012 elections, I was just done. I was fucking so done with politics. I wanted nothing to do with that shit. I was so burnt out on being a progressive, liberal, progressive. So suck them back in them days. And for a long time afterward, actually. Apparently folks don't know this about me. But I was a sock them. I had just been done with politics. So after 2012 election, I stepped away. And in doing so, I also stepped away basically from the internet, social media, blah, blah, blah. And I was out until about 2016. I know it's a long time. I mean, that's like not really a long time, but a lot of shit happened between November 2012 and May 2016. A lot of shit happened. Basically, all of the fronting of Gamergate happened in that time. All of the Diablo stuff, all the WoW stuff, all the Breitbart stuff. Basically everything that had to do with the financing and the pregame of Gamergate by fucking Steve Bannon happened in that era. I only know about that because I knew people afterward who had those experiences, who had shared that with me, and I was able to piece that together with what I'd later learned about Bannon and seeing him in action. And then obviously going through the rest of Gamergate from 2016 forward. When I got back into it, I say I'm a Gamergate veteran, but I was on the side of the radfems, specifically, the trans-inclusive radical feminists. I was the male feminist in those circles, which is why I talk so much shit about them now. Because there were a lot of things that I found kind of odd and kind of intrusive, but I thought, it's just because I'm a guy, you know, that's just my internalized, misogyny, getting in the way of me seeing the real picture in that, of patriarchal oppression and how, didn't know dick about kyriarchy at that time. So it was just, my assumption was that any opposition that I felt was just, and this is what these communities will tell you today, that if you're a guy, cis or trans, that your opposition to these feelings are just you having a moral failure because of your genital configuration if they're TERFs, or because of your preference in pronouns if they're not TERFs. But that's basically it. And it was only through seeing the transphobia in real time of not just the trans exclusive radical feminists who were just at that point starting to really in the mainstream break away. I mean, they'd already broken away, but like the really cutting of the cord from the inclusive to the exclusive radical feminists. Not just seeing that and in support of that, because this is an era when like when people would say shit like, oh well, TERF is a slur, and like other people who would consider themselves intersectional and supportive of trans people were like, well, yeah, kind of like I support trans people, but like, yeah, it's kind of misogynistic that they're calling all these women TERFs, like it's kind of a problem, that when they're telling them, that the TERFs get the wall, like this is actually kind of an issue because, it goes against anything that we've ever considered about anything doing to do with introspection within the movement. And I'm thankful that, like, in a lot of ways, some of maybe not necessarily the central authorities on these ideologies have really done a lot of introspection, but a lot of people have moved away from that particular brand of feminism and have embraced a more intersectional take when it comes to racial minorities, when it comes to the inclusiveness of trans people outside of just trans women, when it comes to the inclusiveness of non-binary people, especially, who are often not considered, when it comes to the inclusiveness of trans masc people, who are also not often considered. But yeah, so my experiencing of the weird feelings starting to be manifest by seeing this underlying transphobia project itself more outwardly, it made me start to question like a lot of the values that this ideology had taught. And then it started making me question, okay, I must be like the worst feminist in the fucking world, bro. Because like, here I am supporting women and supporting feminism and supporting reproductive rights. But now we got this whole situation where there's these trans women and they like want to be in sports and they're like really good. They're getting like fifth place. And people are freaking the fuck out over it. And it's mostly Republicans. And I'm like, yo, chill the fuck out, you fucking weirdos. But then like their wives show up to also freak the fuck out. And I'm like, damn, y'all are fucking cringe. Like, how the fuck are you gonna, how the fuck are you gonna throw away like why are you even on social media if we're just gonna disregard everything that that makes being a free woman in a free society worth blah blah blah, if this is what we're doing with it, right? And that apparently the vernacular that I used at the time, which was less than "you bitches are cringe and you need to shut the fuck up." I said it much nicer than I would today if I could go back and change it. But the vernacular that I used apparently was problematic still. And I thought to myself, well, I seem to have made a lot of feminists mad by criticizing women who don't seem to care about feminism. And all I really was trying to do was support women, specifically trans women. This is really a weird place for a guy like me to be. Like, oh, I must be the worst feminist in the world. I must be blinded by my internalized misogyny. This is horrible. I have to do 9 months of introspection on this to figure out what's wrong with me. And so I did. And at the end of 9 months, I'd realized, no, in fact, I'm a significantly better feminist than any of those cringe bitches also. Specifically because what they teach is intersectionality. What they teach is acceptance of trans people. What they lack is acceptance of trans people. What they lack is intersectionality. What they lack is intersectionality that extends beyond gender essentialism. It extends to bioessentialism, because we're being inclusive to a point, up until a point of pronouns. But outside of that, we're not considering that other people who may not share pronouns also would require certain services, may become victims of certain kinds of violence that we're not big fans of, because we think that, hey, systemically, this is an actual problem with society. But because of pronouns and our preference in pronouns, we're not including this, because they're the bad gender, and they did it by choice. So no, after a good 9 months of introspection, and following 2 years of testing this theory, I've come to the conclusion that yes, in fact, I am just a better feminist than any of those people who have otherwise given me criticism. And I've since tried to cater to that, or at least tweak that, a bit, because there are places that I had missed. There are points that I had missed, communities that I had not given as much credit to. Transmasc people, for instance, there are a lot of struggles within the transmasc community that I wasn't really that aware of until, say, the last 2 years, I guess, by comparison to where I was at in 2022, with my awareness of a lot of issues within the non-binary community, and that sort of thing. But anyway, I think I'm going way off topic here. So my place in Gamergate was thus. I was a male feminist on the side of radical feminism. Took the position of anti-turfness, and was otherwise cast out by the TERFs, at which point I had declared myself an intersectional feminist. I have since found a somewhat community with other folks online who have also seen these sort of problems within these communities as well. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's the next phase of where feminism can go, is toward a more genderless concept, right? Not necessarily, and that's why I bring this up, and I love when I see shit like this, because in this case, all that this person is saying is, we have this problem with men that everyone can recognize. And keep in mind, they're speaking specifically about cis men here. We have this problem with cis men. No one is denying that. What we're denying is if anything should be done about this, or if we should just be bitching about it, but also just continuing to bitch at anyone who offers any sort of solution outside of they just all should go to another universe somewhere and exist by themselves. That's not pragmatic, it's not effective, and it hasn't worked since 2010. We're looking at 14 years of doing nothing but complaining without actually getting our hands dirty. It's a pain in the ass to talk to incels. They're fucking annoying. And the worst of them, like any reactionary conservative, are not going to be convinced that their positions are cringe, dumb, wrong, and that they're just fat and weak. But some can be convinced, and any effort should be, put forth to do as much. And anyone who denounces that should be laughed off the internet.
I feel like that's a fair statement to make.
Sure.
But, for that, I've been canceled multiple times recently, even.
Well, even if, you're looking at something from a unbiased view and have a neutral standpoint, somebody somewhere is going to take offense. It's a sad fact of human nature is that I don't want to say that we do this as a species, but it really feels like it sometimes. I feel like we crave conflict purposefully just because, I don't know, maybe it gives some kind of meaning to some people's lives. I don't honestly fucking know. But it's always seems to be this polarized view of if you're not with us, you're against us, and any discussion to the contrary is still against us. No, we won't take your feedback or listen to your thoughts on the subject. We're just going to cancel you outright. And that's what I hate about cancel culture is the number one thing is they will not listen to any logical debate or discussion on the topics that are affecting us as a whole. It's that mentality of it's my way, highway all over again. And it drives me up a fucking wall.
Feel that.
True. 14-year-olds shouldn't be able to post on social media. There you go. That's how you fix that problem.
Also true.
Easy.
Does it also cure a lot of the weird campus, a lot of the weird social puritanism? I think because literal dipshit children post shit, and then the next thing you know, it's being championed by God, the most annoying accounts that aren't literal children making YouTube videos about this.
It's funny you say that. One of my guilty pleasures, I say it's a guilty pleasure because you're going to find the worst breed of human being there. I like playing Grand Theft Auto Online. Stupid guilty pleasure. I typically mute everybody because I do not want to hear all the incels, the nut jobs just going off, the racial bullshit.
The COD lobby.
I mean, I would argue that in its prime, GTA Online could give a COD lobby a run for its money with how toxic it could fucking be. Like, absolutely. Plus, COD lobbies, you get a break because the matches switch and you switch players. In a lobby, you can be in there for hours playing with the same people in GTA. And it just magnifies the toxic behavior. But the shit that kids go on there and say, and these are like 8-9-year-olds talking about how trans people are like quote unquote freaks of nature and all this, and I'm like, the fuck you're barely out of your damn diaper and you're trying to like tell people these political views? No. You do not have enough experience to be even remotely mouthing off about something like this, dude.
They've probably all got Twitter accounts.
I wouldn't doubt it, dude. I would not fucking doubt it. It's nuts to me.
Yeah. When it comes to, I don't know. When it comes to a lot of that kind of gaming, I guess I haven't really, I make the joke about the COD lobby, but in my experience, it is just a meme because I haven't actually played Call of Duty. I don't know that FPS games are not really, I don't say they're not necessarily my thing, but I guess I'm super picky, right? Like I've played Enlisted. It gives you the option to go in as a squad. I've tried like, oh God, what is that fucking Blizzard game that everybody plays and streams?
Overwatch?
That's the one. Yeah, didn't fucking care for that even a little bit. Just not my thing. I tried it. I think Overwatch 2. Yeah, I don't know. I got a buddy of mine who plays Destiny 2. Not really the most interesting thing I've seen. I have noticed a lot of Facebook streamers though, like basically everybody who isn't like everybody who isn't you guys and the Kaizo guys are like and also not bots, because there's a ton of fucking bots. They all do like FPS and I'm just like, why? Like this is kind of weird, Like I mean, I've seen like Sean play like Cyberpunk, but like I think that's about as FPS as I've seen you guys do,
Yeah, I tend to like she's played FPS wise, she's played Metro, Fear, Deathloop, Cyberpunk. I tried to get her into GTFO, but the control scheme drove her nuts. She's like, "Fuck this." I'm like, "Well, sorry, I tried." But
I feel like a lot of that, I don't know, and it's weird. It sounds weird to even to say, but like I feel like a lot of that that culture seems to be centered around, I don't know, maybe it's the lobbies, but I'm thinking to myself, you can be weird and toxic like anywhere, right? Like you could play Factorio and call, a motherfucker a slur. In fact, Factorio, you play it long enough, you'll want to call everyone a slur. That shit gets fucking hard. By the time you get to you're like, I gotta refine fucking what is it? This is the phosphorus, I think, where you're like manufacturing plastic, and it's like, what the fuck do I do with this? How the fuck do I can drill for oil, but what the fuck do I do with it? How do I refine this shit? Once I refine this shit,
gamer frustration,
right? Like that's where the slurs want to come. So but I just feel like it has somehow created a culture with that, and I know that sounds weird, but like it's just something that I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't play those games, so I don't experience it firsthand. I'm just memeing when I say it, but
no, I mean,
aware
I
that
totally
it exists
get where you're
somewhere.
I totally get where you're coming from. I mean, you look at that, and then you look at the culture behind like the Souls games, like the whole get good, blah blah. This, like, there's this weird, I feel like, elitism to video games. Like, obviously when we were kids, I'm 41, by the way, born in 83. Gaming for me, right, back in the day was sitting the fuck down on a couch, grabbing your NES controller, and just chilling out on a weekend. No politics, no bullshit. And granted, communication was pretty limited back then, obviously, because no internet up until like the early mid 90s. And then, like, I feel like gaming took a severe nosedive in a lot of respects because it became more about just over hyper competitive bullshit as opposed to playing the game for what it was actually intended for, which was just to have a fun time. And I feel like that is so prevalent today that a lot of people they just take it too fucking seriously. And Call of Duty lobbies are like horrible with that. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, I would love to see Activision put together a clipper reel, right? Of every time somebody's used something a racial slur, a sexist, like, I just want to see how wide or how many, like,
How creative they get with it.
Yes, just because it's got to be ridiculous to a horrible degree.
All right, what did the gamers say this time?
I do think it's cool though that they're trying to innovate though and catch more people doing that shit. Though I'm a little iffy about them using AI for voice recognition, where somebody will say like a racial slur and the AI just pops it off and like, oh, you get a ban or whatever the suspension is, whatever the particular game's policy is on that particular subject.
Yeah,
because apparently
AI is trash when it comes to that stuff. I can speak firsthand experience. I work for a company that the software is meant to pick up when certain words are spoken, and those words get spoken, and that shit doesn't fucking happen. You got to be specific if you want that to trigger. We're just not there yet,
Yeah, apparently in GTA 6, when that finally releases, they're going to be doing a facial recognition thing now where kids cannot buy the game. And I'm just like, that's still not going to fucking stop the parents from going like, here you go, little Timmy, go shoot a hooker after, yeah. Here you go, Timmy, Merry Christmas, Happy birthday. Like, you would not believe, you guys might know this company, I don't know if you know or not. There used to be a company called Comp USA. way back in the day. It might have been just a Utah thing, but basically, you know, a computer superstore, appliance or TVs, cameras, video games, laptops, the whole like wholesale retailer nerd shit, essentially. Well,
I'll say if it's something niche, keep in mind that Daho is Canadian and I'm a hillbilly, so you know.
That's true. I am a fucking leaf.
Fair enough. But I can't tell you how many times I had to dissuade parents from buying their like 8-year-old, so I don't know, Manhunt. If any of you are familiar with that title.
I guess so.
It's familiar.
So it was a game that Rockstar released. Essentially, the plot was that you play a death row inmate, goes through the motions of getting a lethal injection, only it was staged, and you're now part of a sick and twisted snuff film director's violent porn film, and you get to go and brutalize and murder gangs who are trying to kill you with a variety of creative execution effects, including, but not limited to, taking a grocery bag and strangling somebody to death with it over their face, decapitating somebody with
Jesus
a shard
Christ.
of glass, a whole slew of just horrifically violent, like, things that you wouldn't want to expose a child to in any way, shape, or form. But I had to tell parents not to buy this. But most parents were like, "Isn't it just an action game?" And I'm like, "You see the M rating on this, don't you? Mature? Do you think an 8-year-old is mature?" And then I would explain the shit to them, and their faces would just go white in terror. I'm like,
Manhunt is set in the
like,
fictional
no.
Carcer City, a dilapidated Rust Belt city rife with corruption and crime. On the prowl around the city are numerous violent gangs who seek to kill the player. So basically, it's Dayton, Ohio. Got it.
Anywhere in Ohio.
Oh, true.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But yeah, it definitely not a game for the kiddies by any way, shape, or form. Like, hyper violent. I would go to say it was, at the time, it was the most violent game ever released. By a wide margin. And yeah, parents would gladly buy their kids this game, and I'm like, the fuck is wrong with people? How? Why? Why would you do this?
Right.
They wanted to do a little trolling. They wanted little Timmy to be happy.
Just a little trolling.
Yeah, Timmy's gonna have fucking nightmares. Or he's gonna learn a new appreciation for hurting animals. Jesus.
True, unironically.
A new way to try to roast the ants. There you go.
All right, so listen, fellas. It is 1:31 a.m. I am unfortunately. I know this is everybody else's super get up time, but I am actually having to wake up in like 5 hours and drive slightly across the state one more time again. So I am going to bid you all adieu. But I think Daho is still streaming, so if you're
I'm done. I've been streaming for like 8 hours at this point.
we got you all the ad revenue tonight. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know, the maybe 50 extra cents. Let's go.
That's Twitch for you, for sure. I gotta crank up my ads, I think.
That's Twitch when you have like no one on your stream.
True.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I might, when I go to Twitch, if Facebook keeps just fucking off with the star issue, I might just say fuck it, navigate to Twitch completely. Like, I'll still stream on Facebook, but I'm just gonna have the option of like donating.
Thanks to like stupid annoying Zionists and fucking DGGers being dumb and annoying about like and fucking Ethan Klein being stupid and annoying about like a fucking hummus tier list or some shit, some fucking meme on TwitchCon. It might actually be a bit more difficult to do politics content on here. So I
didn't actually set my
I haven't done any. I don't even know if they've implemented the feature yet.
Damn, I didn't even look. Well, I do everything from Restream, so I didn't even look. I don't even get to pick a topic. Like, there are more options on Facebook than Restream even recognizes. So this basically just, I don't even know if I get listed in Facebook Gaming with this. I have no idea.
Okay.
But Facebook embed doesn't work at all with CCC, so I don't care. They can fuck off until Zuckerberg fixes. Like, I can host a Facebook stream on desktop, but if you're on mobile, their embed is just broken. For anyone, it's just broken. You can only view a Facebook stream on the Facebook app.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, because you got to be logged in order to see. Therefore,
Yeah, because they wanted it to be all proprietary, make third parties harder to come in. That's why.
So if I want to host a Facebook streamer, they've already got to be on Twitch, or I got to dig through their YouTube to find their specific embed link for the VOD. So that's why when Steamboat earlier was like, I deleted my Twitch account, I'm like, fucking why? I'm not.
Yeah.
If I raid you, I'm not raiding you on YouTube, bro.
Yeah, you should just keep it.
Yeah. Well, because
there's no reason to get rid of it, right?
Not even a little bit, because I mean,
you can always just be a chatter, and that's whatever.
Well, I can raid or also if you ever do build a website, you don't want to use one like mine, you can just embed your YouTube VOD and use the Twitch chat, whatever. That's what I did before I had this chat.
Oh yeah, I would not use any other chat besides Twitch chat. Like, yeah,
right.
It's Twitch chat or nothing, basically.
Right.
That's the chat. The environment for the chat is just better, and like the ability to add emotes through third-party stuff is just it's perfectly integrated. It's been like that for over 10 years.
Right.
Actually, longer than 10 years in Twitch. So yeah, it's just way better.
Yeah, and YouTube. I mean, even though they've tried by adding more, emotes, they're garbage. There's like one that's cute, and that's it. That's, but I mean, you were there. I think I knew you even before I had, this chat. That's how I had it, was just, I had a Twitch chat attached to the YouTube VOD. So
yeah,
now you're ad free and blah, blah, blah. Send me money.
yeah,
but yeah, so I don't know, but it's so much easier too, because if I've rated Demon Mama before, but it's like kind of a pain in the ass because she doesn't stream on Twitch. So I've got to go through and find her embed for that specific VOD. And if something happens to her stream, I'm not chasing it down a second time, So it's like,
I hear that rating on YouTube is it's weird.
Well,
because Twitch is just a button.
Yeah,
it does it all in the back end.
You have one link. Yeah.
Twitch's raid, just
or one command.
/ raid name, boom, done. Fucking done.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's to help encourage cross-pollination of audiences, because Twitch actively understands probably better. It's like, well, how are we successful if we get more people to grow constantly? How do more people grow cross-pollination of audiences? And
even if you're using like a third party, website like what I've got, it's even easier, because if you want to raid someone on YouTube, you have to find the specific, like I say, you have to find the specific VOD that they're streaming on. You have to pull the specific piece of the code out. You have to code it differently, and you have to attach that in with. I hit a button, and then you refresh your browser, and it's
done.
Which so whenever we end this, if you guys want to jump into my chat, I'm gonna raid Riverboat Jack, because I did see that she's streaming and probably talking about the same ass thing. But also
she probably is.
But Daddy needs clout, so we'd like that.
Do some like game streams together or something. I like gaming with people who actually have an intellect above 5. It's kind of nice and refreshing, for fuck's sake.
Oh, for sure.
That's true. Many people are saying this.
True.
Yeah, I can just raid into Riverboat Jack too. Why not? There's no one else really on. But yeah, honestly, conclusions. It might be looking Jover. It might not be Jover. Have any of the news channels called it for anyone yet? As far as I know, no. I don't even think if Fox News has called it for anyone yet. So I don't know. All the people doomering out about this is just like, I think it's just stupid.
Yeah, I mean, we've still got plenty. So far, according to AP, Trump's sitting at 247. Kamala is still sitting at 214, but we still got plenty to go here.
Yep, it's not over till it's over.
True.
Like, not Not everything.
According to AP, Trump won Georgia.
Yep, that's pretty bad.
Don't love that.
And oof, it was off by about. They're calling it for Trump, but Atlanta still isn't done completely counting. That can still change, actually. It's what, about 100,000 votes. That could potentially change, but calling it for Trump might be correct there.
Ooh, I got one. Any regrets?
What?
Any regrets? What could we have done differently
Oh, regrets?
in this? No, regrets. You know, like the tattoo. Instead of no regrets, do you have any regrets?
I'm totally clueless.
You've seen the tattoo, right? It's no regrets spelled wrong, so it's no regrets.
Holy shit, that's a deep cut. Yeah.
So what? You know, do you have any regrets? And if so, what are they? What could you have done differently? It's a canana.
I don't have no fucking idea, dude. Because I just if anything bad happens, it just gets thrown out of my brain pretty much immediately. I have no fucking idea, honestly. I don't know.
I mean, I guess as a Canadian, that's kind of a dishonest question. At the end of the day, it is totally your business, but also none of your business because you guys got your own thing going on next year.
Oh, we're cooked. we are so cooked up here, dude. Unless something I was saying this, it's I mean, if Trump does lose, maybe sort of by cultural osmosis, the conservatives might lose some momentum, but I'm just that's some fucking super fucking hopium shit. I don't think that's gonna happen. The Liberal Party has basically collapsed up here, so we're pretty cooked up here.
Regret wise, this election, I don't know. I mean,
don't campaign with the Cheneys. Campaign with the Cheneys is pretty bad.
I'd rather not get shot in the face. You kidding me?
True.
Regret wise, I don't know. I don't know really if there's anything I could have done differently. I voted. I, talked to my peers and been like, hey, maybe think about the other party instead of the orange Cheeto because here's why. Maybe I could have been a little more vocal in that, but that's also a thin line to walk, especially the job that I work for a company called Corporate Tools. And yes, take that name as you will. Essentially what we do is we offer registered agent services. As in the United States, to operate a business, they require that you have what's called a registered agent. Basically an entity or a person who's on hand during normal business hours, 9 to 5 Central, typically, to receive legal documentation or paperwork from the state. So if you get service of process, i.e. a lawsuit, somebody has to be able to take it on behalf of that company.
Now, keep in mind, the Nazis from 5 years in the future are watching this VOD, so don't dox yourself too hard there.
Sure.
I'm sure they will be. But ultimately,
they want to see if I'm going to use the N-word on this stream, which I have already, and they missed it. That's their problem.
But with the job I have, I have to be careful because I can't be too nutty, because a lot of business owners, their view of the government is tenuous at best, and they're going to look for an immediate relief as opposed to long-term stuff, because they're of the mindset, I want my money, I want it now. Why the hell does the government have to keep taking my money when I'm running a business? So to them, as stupid as it sounds, Trump's like a messiah to a lot of business owners, because he's gonna give us more money. We're gonna get more money from tax breaks for businesses and all this, when the fucker is bankrupted 3 of his own fucking businesses. And it's you guys have no idea what's coming. But regrets, I mean, as far as not being more vocal, I don't know. It's a hard toss to gauge whether or not something, if anything, I could have done something differently. It's hard to say.
Well, apparently Fox News is called Pennsylvania for Trump. We'll see what that ultimately amounts to because it's Fox News. So
Take it with a grain of salt.
take it with a grain of salt.
True. I'll add one for Kelly, and that would be
I know that and everyone's like just basically dooming out over. I mean, Hassan is fucking dooming out over it. So
Yeah, I saw a couple of people who were like feeling in their feelings, but most of my feed is, keep in mind, local folks, so that could just be local feelings also. People more discouraged about local races, or in some cases their own races. I think so far what I'd seen from most of the candidates that I know, they did much better than they had in the past, and it's not nothing. Just seeing that many people running for office at all for those uncontested seats takes away from what Republicans would have otherwise been able to freely throw in places that weren't that they'd already expected to be battlegrounds, if you will. By having to throw money at someone like Leslie Jones, or Bernadette running my district, Randy McCallion, who basically ran the shit out of her own campaign for the last the last two election cycles. It's not for nothing, but yeah, I haven't really seen anything so far just yet. I haven't really been looking, but outside of like the local folks here.
Oh well, just gotta wait and see for now.
All right. So I'll throw one to Kelly. What my regret for Kelly is to not coerce Sean to do a debate panel and scream at fucking dipshit conservatives, because she'd be good at this. Her whole I walked into the fucking bathroom story and this motherfucker had his dick out washing his dick in the sink story, that is like burned into my memory. I can only imagine.
My favorite story is when she went off on Hot Dog Gate, as she calls it. Did you hear it? Were you here that night? Oh my God.
This ringing a bell, but not a loud one. She might have just referenced it if I missed it.
So her job, one of the jobs she does, she works like 3 fucking jobs practically. Well, 2 now since she stepped down from streaming. But she does landscaping, has a lot of clients, and then she also, to make ends meet, she works at a gas station, a garage station.
I knew that one.
And
yeah.
There's this dude who runs it, and he is the definition of a slumlord running a job. The guy is just fucking, he's a dirtbag. Suffice it to say, on occasion, and it's I think the main corporation that's runs it is Shell Gas, or Shell XO, or whatever the hell it's called. Essentially, they will put items on sale for deals like every convenience store does. Buy 1 drink, get 2 drinks free, or whatever whatever combination it is. So they put their hot dogs on sale, these roller hot dogs that you'd get at any normal gas station hot dog, nothing fancy, nothing really all that much. And now most intelligent store owners, be it a franchise owner or a direct corporate run store, have the width and the breadth to understand that there is going to be some waste from your products, whether they expire, or if in this case, if they're hot line items, cooked items, they will eventually have to be chucked at the end of the night. It's just a law of averages. It's the way it works. You can't keep a fucking hot dog on a roller for 48 hours.
Right.
It'll turn into jerky by that time. Well, They only sold like a few hot dogs, yet they demanded Sean put out as many hot dogs as she could to fit the roller. And she's like, these are not going to sell. It's a gas station in the middle of fucking Newcastle, England. It's middle of nowhere. All that Newcastle has are coasts and farms, and maybe a small town. Not big, not very big. So she puts these hot dogs out, and obviously very few sell, and she's forced to chuck the rest of them. Then, in a complete hypocritical move, they chastised her for putting the fucking hot dogs out. And like, you wasted like 50 cents per hot dog for a total of like $5. That is over our budget. And she's like, what the fuck? I told you that these wouldn't sell, number one. Number two, any smart business would have an overflow for this kind of fucking thing. They're hot dogs. They are not jewels, you assholes. I'll have to see if I can find the stream where she just went on an unhinged rant about it. It was great.
No cheap wieners. I'm with that. I'm totally with that.
And yeah, she still has people who do questionable things in the gas station restroom. By the way, that's still a thing.
Jesus, unfortunately. Oh, looks like Boy Meets Minis in the chat.
Oh
All
no, not cringe meets mini. Oh no.
True.
I take it he's gotten that moniker for a specific reason.
Don't worry about it.
Don't ask questions. Shh, we don't talk about the thing. Just don't.
Don't worry about it.
Well, Minnie's in YouTube chat, so I'm in no place to disagree with you. But no, we love Minnie. Minnie's great peoples. It is like fucking almost 2 a.m. though, boys. And
yeah, I gotta go. I gotta be up at 6, so I feel your pain.
I gotta be up at
anyway.
4.
Let's fucking plan a game or something. Like, I'm open to whatever.
Well, y'all are in my Discord. Daho, I don't know if I have a button for you. Do I have a Daho button?
I don't know if you have a Daho
If you mean button, his little chat icon, I mean, I can see it there.
No, I have on the FAQ. It's so I've got these cool commands on my website in the chat. So we've got these cool FAQ. Damn it, I do not. I've got it on YouTube and Twitch, I think, for like shouting out on some fucking bot that I loaded back when I actually paid attention to Twitch chat. But I'll make a shout out button for you there. No, but I've got like chat commands or whatever where you shout out other streamers. It gives their links and shit.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds gravy.
So if you're not already following, actually, I mean, y'all are in my Discord, so you can figure out who y'all are and follow each other there. So, oh, holy shit! All right. Well, so to close this out, my regrets. I regret not streaming more these last couple of years. I should have streamed more. I should have streamed and produced more content as much as I did in 2022 or more. I should have been more active in local politics and should have encouraged more people to be just as active in local politics as I was in 2022. To the best of my ability, I wasn't available for this, but, I'm sure it could have made some extra time at the cost of my mental health, to do the right thing for the country, or at least the right thing to get the messaging out for my local state area. I encourage, Daho's Canadian. So, damn it, Kelly's moving to another fucking country that ain't here. I encourage both of your relatives on the normal side of this border to get involved in local politics. If you're on Facebook, reach out to your local representatives in your districts. Get on Ballotpedia, find out where the fuck you live. Look at your district map, figure out where it is, figure out who's running, figure out who your representatives are and who the Dem candidates are. Find out who the Dem candidates were and what they're up to these days. Follow them on social media. Become their friends. Show up to their events. buy them coffee, buy them a sandwich, offer to help them carry shit to their car, see if they have signs and stickers and buttons, ask them if you can help them volunteer, canvas for them, literally do whatever the fuck it takes to get their attention and be as useful as possible to your local candidates. And one day, you too will be half as cool as me. And when that day comes, you'll be able to go to any local community events and be seen by folks who are otherwise pretty fucking famous on social media. And they will see you and they will respect you and they will not call you slurs and they will call you Giga Chad. They will know that you are a motherfucker who gets lots of bitches. You get so many bitches that they call you bitches and they say it to your face. They'll be like, damn, there goes bitches Giga Chad, fat cock.
Bitches McGiga Chad.
Right. Doctor
Bitches McFat Cock Giga Chad. Is that really what we're going for here?
Dr. McFatcock Giga Chad,
PhD in having a fat cock.
Esquire. Right.
Up and coming for the most interesting person in the world.
Exactly. And then they'll then when people write fan fiction about you, they'll have to write about your fat cock also.
Oh.
And then you'll be almost as cool as me. And maybe even taller. So you'll have that going for you. But this is what I strongly recommend. And again, it's fucking so simple. If I can do it, listen, I'm just some hillbilly, okay? I'm just some hillbilly from down yonder. I live in the sticks, man. I live in the fucking basement, okay? I live in the goddamn woods, okay? I'm surrounded by trees and squirrels, okay? They ain't even Nazi squirrels. They're just regular fucking brown squirrels, okay? I got a river down yonder at the bottom of that little ditch here. If I can do it, fucking anybody can do it, okay? There's pictures of me with, with every single candidate that's, running in districts that I live in. Pictures of me with the folks, with the guy who's running for attorney general, the gal who's running for governor in my state. If you can't post that on social media, you need to work that out. But it's literally just that simple, just that easy. Anyone can do it. And if you do it, you will be a badass, and you will also be making a change and a difference by going out and speaking with people. Your friends will like you. Animals will think that you are friendly and will not attack you. In fact, they'll want to be your friends too. Squirrels and birds will bring you presents. Women will love you. Santa Claus will bring you presents. You will see the kingdom of heaven. You will get lots and lots of bitches. And, you'll be making the world a better place at the same time, because you'll be doing your part to actually push for the leftist circle jerk that all of these dipshit tankies in Campus Online fucking dream about, that they fucking wish they could be a part of. You'll be actually out there making it happen, and in real time. And literally anyone can do this. It's that simple. And you don't even have to go outside to start. You just have to be a little bit more crafty with what it is that you're doing with your phone. It starts with Ballotpedia and finding out who you are and where you are. Strongly recommend.
I feel like I added to that, and just in general, be kind where kindness is warranted. Like, there's too much bullshit and negativity in the world as it stands right now. If you can be kind to somebody and make their day, fucking do it. You don't know what that person's going through. Like, I'm not saying be a doormat, but fuck, show some compassion. There's a severe lack of it in the world right now, and we need more of it.
Well, especially recognizing who your political allies are, I see so many people, shitting on their own side, especially right now. We were all in good fun. I mean, it's not necessarily just good fun. Some of it was just fun and bloodthirst. But, for the greater part of a week, me and Daho and friends, we were shitting on tankies who were being smug and weird and whatever. But at the end of the day, what we're going to probably be doing is acting in solidarity with the cringe liberals who were actually somewhat having our best interests in mind, or at least the ones whose best interests we had in mind, while said smug tankies are already smug posting, even still, because they feel like our loss is their win, which is fucking weird to me.
Meh, whatever. They're okay with the victory like this because they're also fascists. So whatever.
I mean, you brought that up earlier in a discussion, and I don't exactly think that you're wrong at all.
Man,
I think that using, and I mentioned this in a completely different discussion, I think that using the proper labels is a good thing. Sometimes I will call a campus to tanky if I feel like it rolls off the tongue better. But for the most part, I do think that we should use labels appropriately. And yeah, these Nazbols and tankies, there's a reason that they get called red fash, and it's not because we're being ironic.
Yep.
It's because they are gleeful that, you know, the map looks like it does at this hour.
Yep.
But, all right. Well, listen, I am outie like a cholecystectomy belly button. It was wonderful chatting with you guys. Kelly from Geordie Junkcat. You can catch him on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube now.
YouTube, not so much lately. I'm going to be doing more essentially once I'm situated in the UK. Right now, it's just been a bit of a clusterfuck trying to figure out travel regulations because I'm taking my cat with me. I'm not leaving her behind. That cat has saved my life. Suffer from depression, anxiety, and she is my medicine. So, along with Sean now, who is graciously part of my life now, and I'm eternally grateful for that. But ultimately, getting that travel shit figured out is the biggest hurdle. And then once I'm over there, getting a new rig built, and then I'm going to be streaming, making more content, doing co-op streams and shit, whatever I can get my hands on. Just growing the channel, having fun. And I'm not even overly concerned with the donations. It's more that if people want to contribute, I want to give them the ability to contribute. And I'm hoping just to build an overall great gaming community that's inclusive, love each other, and can have a hell of a lot of fun.
Hell yeah. And Dahorumba on twitch.tv, right? We can't get you on Facebook, bro?
Facebook. Do I want to also restream on Facebook? Listen, just telling from like all the shit that from the bots, I definitely, because I am incredibly raunchy and super edgy. I don't want to get bit by bots, bro. Because that sounds like
just put that disclaimer up that says you must be 18 or older to view this stream.
I'm also raunchy and blah blah blah, and that's why Kelly's here with us. And my shit on Facebook and was like, "Yo,
that's crazy." Well, maybe if I just get around to not being lazy about it,
hey,
maybe I'll also stream on Facebook. I can't leave Twitch. I'm tied to the hip of Twitch, dude. I'm an OG fucking Twitch chatter. He's been here since before it was even Twitch, since it was Justin TV. I know the old days.
Damn.
I'm an OG.
That's what's up.
It's hard for me to move, but you know, if I could always just like do restream or some shit on there.
It's okay. So even if it's the free account for restream, you can still stream on 2 platforms. So you know,
that's true. Yeah, exactly. That's the great thing about Twitch. I can just stream on any amount of platforms that I want to. So.
Right.
That's true.
Admittedly, I do like Streamlabs' function for multi-stream. It's kind of nice.
That's true. They do have that. Might do switch just from Stream Elements to Streamlabs just to have that function on. But yeah, you know, I play video games. I yap about shit. This is just stream of consciousness type deal. Mostly just play video games. If I'm playing Darktide, typically I don't yap as much because I have to pay attention to not dying. Because I play the missions on the hardest difficulty. But you know, I'm a gamer. I have opinions.
Warhammer Darktide, right?
Yep. Warhammer 40K.
I have that. We'll have to connect and.
Sounds good. I'm down. You know, we have to run around like a dickhead and kill things. as one does for the emperor. Yeah. I mean, overall conclusion. I mean, I guess the pollsters ended up being correct. There was no hurting. You know, Trump decided to pull a miracle out of his hat somehow. Campaigning with the Cheneys was bad. Obviously, the only person you can blame for this is dogshit DNC advisors. And I always have like a positive conclusion out of this. What I hope ultimately comes out of this, with the Democrats losing, although I'm not very hopeful about this, is that the Democrats have an overall reflection and look in the mirror. Have an overall. Can always blame the Greens. I mean, literally 33% of Dearborn, Michigan, like Arab Americans voted for fucking Jill Stein. 45% went to Trump. 33% went to fucking goddamn Jill fucking Stein in Dearborn, Michigan. Microcosm, but like whatever. What I'm hoping for, what happens here in particular, in terms of reflection for the Democratic Party, is that it is out with the coastal elitist liberal California, New York thought. It is out with those fucking old fucking dinosaurs, and it's in with Midwestern Democrats. Midwestern Democratic thought is where it is at. It is populist, social democratic. It's not leftist, but that's about as far as you're gonna get. Especially in considering here, there's a reason why Tim Walz, Gretchen Whitmer, J.B. Pritzker, Andy Beshear, all these Midwestern Democratic governors are very popular. And it's because they run on left-leaning populist rhetoric, and that's what's going to be effective. And that's what I hope takes over the party, takes over the Democratic sort of establishment machine. That's what I'm looking forward to, because I think that's the way into the future. But knowing the fucking Democratic Party the way that it is, that's probably not going to happen. I'm just going to be like, oh, great, fuck my life, I guess, whatever. But yeah, I stream on twitch.tv/Daharumba. I've been adding my VODs to my YouTube channel. That's going to be, Daharumba as well on YouTube. It's mostly just my VODs. That's where I upload them to, because Twitch just gets rid of them eventually after a while, which makes sense because there's a lot of shit on Twitch. So, you want to watch my VODs? There you go. I might make something up the YouTube channel. Maybe I'll do like segments or whatever, but we'll see.
Perfectly said. No, I couldn't agree more, honestly. As a leftist from the Midwest, formerly socked them. Yeah, 100%, my dude. Here for the dirt road. Adjacent Dems, if you will. That's kind of the brand that we've been pushing here within my local area, and I'm super happy to see that is becoming more and more popular as well over the alternative, right? Which is unironically the fucking PSL or some tanky. I know people are like, oh well, tankies are just like a fringe. Not where I'm at. We got like limited choices, and those choices are some form of extremism. Social Democrats, used to be the extremism down here, but tankies, and it really has kind of swept the more rural parts of at least this side of the border. And what's happening in Arkansas, I'm not 100% on, but
I mean, look at a lot of DSA chapters. A lot of them have been taken over by like stupid, useless, tanky, like fucking goddamn book clubs, and like.
I want to say that's kind of how it all started. You had a bunch of libcoms, what are they called? Might be that. There was some group that was here for probably the greater part of a decade, and have since been basically just picked apart and replaced by PSL. And now, like I say, I'm seeing I'm seeing these folks passing out pamphlets, all the way from St. Louis to Springfield and all across, 60. It's rural communities, in the cities. It's the craziest shit that I would not have expected in the most far-flung places, going to Folks Fest and setting up across from Democrats, like, talking about nationalizing Walmart. I love asking those people. I absolutely love asking those people when they talk about, nationalizing all of these industries, like, for instance, the grocery stores and shit like that is big corporations. I think, well, what, because we're seizing the means of production in place for the workers. Ask one of these folks how they feel about co-ops and watch them literally melt. They're not interested in anything that remotely resembles socialism. It's just in some sort of state authoritarian power with the aesthetic or the dress. I think they're really just looking for a red star on a ball cap.
No, it's just you tell them to read Critique of the Gotha program, and it's just like they're not, well, they read it, they're not gonna get it. It doesn't matter. It's just like whatever. The same shit with conservatives. You tell them, X, Y, and Z about certain policy and positions and how certain things. It doesn't matter. It's all a fucking cult. Whatever. Who cares? Just move on. Like it's like all right. These people are far gone.
It unironically is just a cult.
It's just like. Yeah, it is.
And I don't even read, I'm the first one who is anti-reading. I'm illiterate, actually. This is
pretty much.
I've read enough to know that it's just like, oh, okay, this is all just fucking LARP bullshit. So whatever. But it doesn't matter. Everyone is extremely polarized. I understand the sort of sociological conditions and conditions on the ground for as to why matters. And the funniest thing about this, funnily enough, Kamala's ground game was even way better than Trump's. Doesn't fucking matter. What a fucking meme. It might not matter. Who knows? That's just a take that I saw from Emma Vigeland, and it's just like, oh yeah, kind of fucking crazy.
Not wrong. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean,
yep, we'll see what ends up happening.
I'm sure this time tomorrow we'll have
a better idea. But,
yeah,
it's not looking great.
Yeah,
unlucky.
True. All right. Well, with that,
Anywho, gamers,
I will bid you all adieu. If anyone is still lurking around in any of their chats, wants to jump over to my chat, aka site chat at chainsawccc.com/live, we are going to be raiding Riverboat Jack. Be sure.
I'll also raid. I'll also probably be raiding Riverboat Jack.
Hell yeah.
Might as well.
Well, if you're in my chat, if you're Daho's chat, you just going over there. If you're in my chat, fucking be sure and go over there and say hello, because Riverboat Jack is not going to know that we raided her. Because I'm on YouTube. All right, y'all. I'll catch you on the flippity fling flong. Rock and roll.
Have a good night, y'all. Take care.
Good night, guys.
Bye-bye.
Nice meeting you guys. Oh,
Pleasure meeting you.
Nice meeting you, Kelly. Yep.